lucky I am not the person I was a year ago. You are a fucking terrible mother. You're a terrible mother. Great fucking example that you're fucking setting for your kids, you dumbass fucking cunt. Get your fucking fat ass in your car, take your disrespectful kids home, because I'm sure they're fucking disrespectful. Yeah?
Yes, I will.
Come on, honey.
Call the cops.
Get out of your fucking car and try and beat my ass in front of your fucking kids.
Try it.
I'm not doing shit.
Try it.
I'm not the one in the fucking wrong.
Try it.
You're the one that just threatened me. You just said you're going to kill me, honey. Exactly what you just said. You're gonna kill me. And so you're calling the cops on me? You're a fantastic mother. Fan-fucking-tastic mom. Great what you're showing your kids right here. Fantastic. Call the cops. I didn't do any fucking thing wrong, honey. I cut you off? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow, dude. The only reason I'm not walking into the store right now is because I don't fucking trust you to not doing something in my fucking car. Call the cops, bitch! Please call the fucking cops!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just tow it off.
Hey, you good, Mom?
577. You good?
No, I'm not good
What's
at
up?
all. She tailgated me the whole fucking way down 17, and now she's got a fucking problem with me.
And she wants
Also said she's gonna kill me. Also.
You're gonna do what? My dad tows for the slot. You said you're gonna do what? Car, so you might want to move it. Hey, yo, you said you're gonna do what? Hey,
She's got two kids in the car too, man.
All right, baby. Make a threat like that again. You're gonna get your ass dropped.
Great example you're setting for your kids, honey. Great example you're setting for
I
your
heard
kids.
bitches who say that shit. Get your big ass out of that car then, bitch. She got a 100 on me. Think you're shaped like an actual fucking teepee. An upside down teepee. Bro! Yo. No, you're a fucking dumbass bitch!
I got a picture of her license plate. I got a picture of her license plate. Fucking cunt, man.
Yo, dead ass, bro.
Dude, she flew up on me in 17 going like 60 miles a fucking hour. Like, I'm ready to fight this bitch. She's so lucky I am not the person I was a year ago, man.
That bitch about that car when I had.
Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Wow.
Disclaimer: that was a video I was trying to play the weekend that you had your vacation snafu. Welcome back, Doug Ziegler. This is your first day back in like 6 years. It feels like.
Yeah.
For you to miss 2 weeks that's pretty damn crazy.
Yeah, that was me commenting, and for some reason now it's not letting me show as me on Facebook. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there because it was working fine last time. And yes, we were early.
We started a little early, John, so we can talk about hanging out together for the first time for many years before we have our fabulous guests come on and our fabulous co-hosts. So we just wanted to start a little earlier and show off our shirts a little bit and show off our beers. What do you got there, Doug?
Well, as we were leaving, we ran into a guy from Craft and Culture, and he handed us 4 packs of this because he didn't have any labels left on the cans, and this is his Pharaoh's Gold Saison.
Oh, and I have a bunch of those, right?
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's a fucking 4-pack of Pharaoh's Gold. So I'm not gonna look that in the mouth because I like saisons. I know you do as well.
Right.
And I'm pouring in my Barrel and Flow glass, which fucking artwork. I mean, it's simple, but it looks so fucking good, right?
You're the artwork guy, so you tell me.
What's that?
I said, you're the artwork guy, so you tell me.
Well, if I'm like, man, I'm going to get, even if they wouldn't have given us one of these glasses, I would have bought one, so because that's how much I liked them.
I feel you.
What'd you pour? You got something already poured, right?
Yeah, but I want some tasting notes on that one because I'm really excited about culture craft. I'm sorry, I get it wrong every time. What is it, Doug?
Crafted culture.
Crafted culture out
They're
of
Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's going on with that one?
I mean,
Funky?
it's freaking delicious. It's exactly what you want out of a saison. It's got all the right notes. Everything just nails it. This is like a really, really perfectly executed saison. So
Great to hear. Great to hear.
You know how when you drink those and you're just like, man, I want more of that. Like when you just get a good saison, it really hits a spot, and you're like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna keep drinking that shit. I'm glad I have more of these in the fridge.
Yeah. Evening, Daniel. I can pop in for a little. Yeah. So, Doug, I'll let you go first. We're here early so we can talk about Bar and Flow, and we don't lose that and we don't talk over our guests, who I'm pretty much assuming didn't go to Bar and Flow.
No,
Probably doesn't know, right? Probably doesn't know what it is. So we don't want to take up that time with them when we could do it beforehand and talk about it and get it out and drink some beers. Oh, I have I have a necromancer. Tall, dark, and mild. They were one of the they are not black owned, but they are one of the breweries that did a collaboration with a black person that we know, Brianna.
Yep.
And they did the old, what was it, flourless
chocolate cake
where they literally threw flourless chocolate cake into the mash. But this here is their, I ended up visiting them. This is the only brewery I visited after and the only Pittsburgh brewery. Or no, we visited Cinderland.
Oh, we went to Southern Tier's tap room downtown.
Oh, when we were at Southern Tier. So we went to a few. All right. Because I even said that with a little bit of doubt. But the weekend went so fast. It was a blur. It really is. I barely remember anything. And that's probably, given the beers that we drank, it's probably about right. But this, you know what's about right, Doug? This English style dark mild. Was not able to get you any of this.
No.
But look at that label. Necromancer has some interesting
great name for a brewery too.
Yeah, I didn't even know what the hell that meant. I had to have
necromancers to make and raise people from the dead. So hence the sort of Frankenstein thing on the label there, I'm imagining. So
necromancer.
Look at this. Look at the color on that too. Looks awesome. Nice and dark.
Dark mild, and actually, I mean, it's coming off more brown there, isn't it?
I mean, it's kind of like a very, very dark brown to me, from what I can see.
It looks from here. It looks like a dark red. You can actually see a little of me behind it. It is very malty, but yet light. This drink's as light as a Pilsner. Less crispy because there's no little hot presence, not much though. But this is a nice summer drinker. It's really nice.
And it's funny, you never think of it like that as a dark beer being like a nice summer drinker, but those dark milds, man, you don't see a lot of them, but they're always just really super crushable. There it looks more brown or even red. Yeah,
there you can see it. Much better picture there. So, Doug, this is your first experience at a Black Brewery Festival. So, what were your first takes or big takes, or what do you got?
I mean, we did a little bit of talk about this last night on Twitter Space, but a lot of those folks on here wouldn't have been listening to, or had an opportunity to. But the first thing is, you say it's a Black beer festival, but it's not just for Black people. It's to highlight Black brewing, Black culture, Black food, like just to really highlight all of that, and Black artists as well. It was and I'm not saying this as hyperbole, it was the best beer festival I've ever been to because it is laid back. It's not a bunch of people just looking to get hammered the entire time. There's a shitload of conversation that happens. everybody just down to talk. Everybody wants to, talk about the beers. Talk, hey, have you tried this beer? Like they're all in it for everybody. And I never once felt like I wasn't like I was out of place or anything like that. I felt completely comfortable there. Also, the safety aspect was super important to me for obvious reasons. It was outside. It required vaccinations. Dave Bracey, who runs it, even said on Twitter that he probably lost some sales as a result of that, but he also got like 5 people vaccinated, which at this point, getting even 5 people vaccinated is, that's most folks are vaccinated, but so just even getting some people vaccinated is great. So, good on them. I completely enjoyed this and I will definitely go back. I mean, it was really just a great experience. And the creativity of the beer, just some of the shit people came up with was not something I've ever even heard of, and I would never see at another beer festival. So,
yeah, 4,000 attendees. It was,
and
we heard at the end.
Yeah, we didn't. It didn't seem that crowded even when we were there, though. Like, would you have guessed 4,000 people? Maybe, but it didn't feel like it was like shoulder to shoulder or anything like that.
No, there wasn't an overwhelming feeling of crowds, and you and I have been wary of crowds, even though we were crowd people before the pandemic.
Yep.
But the pandemic has slowed that bullshit down.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was. So I have the vision of being able to attend one Fresh Fest, and then I have a couple years where I missed. So then there's that remembering what Fresh Fest was and experiencing Barrel and Flow. And I don't know, man, I pretty much feel that they were the same thing almost. I didn't feel any kind of difference as far as vibe. People were there. I love the community of brewers. Seeing these brewers, Doug, interact with themselves and knowing who they are and seeing them interact, whether it be Teo or Mac or Liquid Intrusion, and seeing them be so loving towards each other. And so, I mean, there was no tension at all. There's a competition of trying to elevate each other more than there's a competition of them trying to one up each other, if that makes sense. I was privy to so many conversations about just advice being given either way, or hey man, you got to keep going, or hey, what do I do? I've heard all this, all these just tips and tricks and love and gratitude shown, and it was just fun. From whether it was from the first event we went to, which was at Cinderlands, and then we had the bottle share, which was crazy.
That was just insane. The amount of beer that was, like everybody brought beer. I mean, literally fucking everybody. And there was just so much shit to try. You couldn't possibly have tried it all.
Right.
It was, and again, to that thing I said before, laid back. Like everybody's just kind of talking. You can make space for yourself if you needed to get space. Like they had a DJ there, but it was really just cool. Like literally just, you didn't feel like I went up and I talked to somebody who I recognized from TikTok, and I was a little wary to talk to him because like, it sound like a creeper going, hey, don't I know you from TikTok? Like, yeah, that's how serial killers start a conversation. So, but she couldn't have been nicer. She was like, oh, thank you. And then we must have talked for 15 minutes. And it's a really welcoming, everybody's there for everybody kind of deal. Really is.
Yes. And we got nice shirts from the whole gig. Hung out with our friend Barry Jenkins, who was on the stream. Him and his wife were a riot. We had lunch with them, right? And we had lunch with them. The trifecta? We had ribs, chicken,
and fish, fried fish,
catfish, and macaroni and cheese. And what was the other thing?
Baked beans. Their baked beans was.
It was insane.
It was all good, but the baked beans, it's weird to say baked beans are what blew me away, but that's what blew me away. Those baked beans were fucking awesome.
Right.
I had banana pudding in a cup too while I was there, so I was very happy about that. One of my favorite desserts. So
banana pudding in a cup. Then we had the Sunday brunch, which was just a normal breakfast, but what made it better was this. It was a lot of the attendees from the event, and it was like our time to say goodbye. It was really cool, laid back. It was nice, and then you had a decent ride home, didn't you? Not
Yeah, I mean, it
uneventful.
was uneventful. I mean, it ended up, my GPS took me through the wilds of Pennsylvania, which, because there was one section of the one road that was closed, it decided to take me like 50 miles outside the direction. But it was just it's a 5.5 hour drive. Like, and I don't mind driving. I know you don't mind driving. So the drive was like really not that bad. And for the fucking festival, I mean, you go in there and they were doing workshops at one day, and that was great. Like, I don't generally have a lot of high hopes for those kind of panels and festivals and stuff, but
Yeah,
man, I went in there and I just sat and I listened and I learned a shit ton. And the people there were just great, willing to tell you all about what they were going through, their triumphs, their struggles as being, black artists or black brewers or whatever it may be. It was great. It was really great all the way through.
it was great. So I did we're gonna get to best in show, because I want to highlight. The reason I want to do this is because I want to highlight the brewers that we like the most, but I also want to say their names aloud on our stream.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many brewers that we won't even talk about that just blew me away, deserve to be talked about, but we're at least going to get to some of them. But before I get to there, on the way home, Doug, okay, so little disclaimer, hey, y'all used to a little bit TMI on this channel. We sometimes talk about a little bit too much information. So y'all be ready for this one. But Doug and I, y'all know that Doug and I have had heart issues and all that. One of the things is one of our medicines, and one of the things, on top of getting old, one of the medicines they give us make us go to the bathroom. So Doug and I live in the bathroom. We have to pee a lot. Sorry, this is
diuretics, baby.
We do. Right. So at the weird at the event though, the whole day, I met up with Doug at the end. It was like 15 minutes before we left. So we're like, is there anywhere you want to go? Are we ready to leave? Are we ready? What are we gonna do? Get an Airbnb? Are we gonna call the lady to get her to pick? How we, you want to go to the after parties? We were just like collecting ourselves. But during that part, we were like, we actually talked to each other and we're like, what? I haven't peed all day. He's like, I haven't either. And I'm like, how do you go to a beer fest and not go? What were we doing? So anyway, that's another story for another time. Why is this relevant? Because when I got on the road, Doug, and I was good coming to the festival, no crazy bathroom breaks. Going back, I was a complete disaster. I pretty much had to stop at every rest stop known to man. So we get into Illinois, and I don't know how many of y'all have driven through Illinois. It's one of the most annoying places to drive ever. There's construction. There's tolls every 3 miles. Yeah, like every 3 miles. It really feels that way. And they have these oases where it's basically a gas station and you can chill and shit. Long story short, we get into Indiana, and I missed the first one because there was no signs. I missed the second one because of construction. And after I missed the second one, I was like, I asked my navigator, I said, where's the nearest bathroom? Where are we coming up? She's looking, and we go right past it. So I'm like, I got to do something. So I pulled off, Doug, and went to the GPS said, here's a bathroom. Or here's a gas station. Went to the gas station. Go in there. Our gas stations are out of order. And I'm like, well, because this is after 15, 20 minutes of me trying. So I literally pulled out of the gas station, pulled over to the side, barely kind of made it to the back where I was able to try to pee in a cup while some lady's walking her dog right on the sidewalk right next to me. And my kids are in the back seat, and I feel like I feel like a senior citizen, Doug, who couldn't just hold their pee, and so it was messy. But I didn't get it all over the car and all over myself. I actually saved the whole kind of vibe. I was able to pee in a cup and throw in the trash there and wipe up as much as I could. And I got out of there. But it was, yeah, it was something else coming back home for that. It was a weak moment, but my family, we still get a kick out of it. Actually, I make more fun of it than they do. So yeah, it's just funny, Doug, how I think you can relate how, especially when you get older, you have that pee problem, but also though, the medication that we take, makes us pee. So when we're not peeing, it's weird. And then when we are, it's weird. And I'm done talking about peeing. So y'all, I hope all y'all done. I am. See, we have our guest. Our guest is waiting to pop up here. Soon we're gonna have her ready to go at the top of the hour, y'all. But this is another reason why, Doug, I didn't want to have our guest on, because what the fuck am I doing here?
When it's us, now we're going to ramble with them too. That's
right.
But when it's just us, it just gets into silly conversations.
It's a little awkward. It's
not awkward. We're just odd. What does
Okay. Good. Well, that's what happened.
Yeah, mine was far less
eventful than that. Right. Right. But hey, man, I got a story for the rest of my life, and there you go with that. So, Doug, you went first last time. I'm going to go first this time. Let's talk about our best in show for Bar and Flow. My third best brewery, one of my favorites. I found out a lot about them. We, when I say we, I mean me and you specifically. Really got to know at least a lot more about, or at least I did, about this brewer. Than the first time. Well, you weren't there the first time, but I didn't really meet him or talk to him that good during the first Fresh Fest that I went to. But this time I was able to correspond with him a couple times, and it was great. It was Teo from Crowns and Hops, and he is just a fantastic human being. But he's funny as hell. He is the what do they call him? The party of the show. He walks in. He lights it up. Any room he walks in, he lights it up. He has a great personality, but his beers are pretty much on point, Doug. He had 2 Pilsners there. He had a collab with Allagash, which is, of course, a brilliant brewery and a fantastic, collab. And their Pilsners were amazing. And then their hazy IPA that they bought was one of the better IPAs I drank the whole weekend. They are fantastic people. They are fun. We hope to have him on here one of these Fridays, y'all. We will scream and holler about it when we book it. But he is
don't miss that show, folks, because when Teo's on, he'll make you want to run through a wall and laugh while you're doing it. That's the kind of guy.
Yes. I called him the Godfather of the whole event, just because everybody has respect for him. He earned the respect that he's gotten. But he's just a good fella. Look up Crowns and Hops, y'all. Do a little bit of a deep dive on them. You'll have a good time finding out who they are and what they're doing and the good that they've already spread all over the place. My second favorite brewery was Lady Lager's Rhythm Brewing out of, I believe, New Haven, Connecticut.
Yep, New Haven, yep.
She is the only Black brewer in Connecticut. And she brews some of the best damn lagers in this nation. And I'm going to say that shit until y'all can prove me wrong. She brews what Budweiser should be. What all those big breweries should be, what they should taste like. It's her lagers. She's fantastic. If we could have got any of her stuff to take home, I would have been trying. She had some, I believe, Doug, but I think it went quick. As far as the giving away stuff. She had enough to, have behind her booth. And then she did a collab with Samuel Adams, and we heard all about that during those meeting sessions. Yeah. And Doug, did you have that? Because that was fantastic.
That was excellent too. It was dragon fruit, right? I think it was
dragon fruit.
Yeah, dragon fruit lager. It was. Ugh.
And fruited lagers are kind of a touch and go with me, right? And this one was drinkable. It was nice. It was refreshing. It was crisp. And then she has her light lager and her regular lager. which are just fantastic. She's another one that we hope to deliver to y'all guys in the coming weeks. We will be working on booking her. She seems very enthusiastic about talking to us. We are very enthusiastic to have her.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
That'd be a great guest to have. Yeah,
she's another big, wonderful, fun personality, but smart as all hell. And it's just she's just another wonderful person from Brown Flow. And my best in show, the best beer that I had, and so I guess they're the best breweries. What I'm actually framing it as. Y'all know who it is. I sometimes have to say that, like, I have to have a disclaimer that I personally love this guy, his family, everything they do. It's because of where they're from. Both from Philly, West Philly. I just have a mutual respect for him and what he's trying to do about bringing craft beer to Philly. Not trying to do what he's doing. It's Mac Brewing. They had a beer called The Last of the Mohicans, which Doug has had on the stream. And Doug said it's one of the best beers he's ever had on the stream. And for some reason, Mac sends Doug beers, but not me. Okay. And just saying, maybe it was a comment that that Latif was a better guest than him. Maybe. I don't know. But Mac and I are tight, no worries. But that beer, Doug, was phenomenal. It's 14%, y'all. It really tastes like 4%. I describe it as a triple without the Belgian yeast because it's so light. You can see through it. It doesn't drink as heavy as the label says. And it's fruity. And it's pretty much deadly, Doug. You better watch drinking those Last of the Mohicans. He also had Amber the Yams, which I think Doug is going to talk about. He had he had 2 collabs, and he had the Last of the Mohican beer, and he just hit it out of the park. He couldn't leave his tent because people were there just taking pictures of him, with him. He was engaging, he was talking. I just love Mac Brewing. I love everything they do. And I am, I'm not a journalist, so I can be biased, right, Doug?
Yeah, and
right.
But you preface it by saying this is somebody you really like. But I told you when I had that beer in the stream, you saw me. I practically melted in the fucking chair. It was like so fucking good, and it's made with honey grass and lemon. So like it's just really superbly done.
It is this beautiful beer. It's a beautiful, beautiful beer.
Yeah. All right, so let me go into mine here because we're approaching the top of the hour. We're actually at it. I'll go through mine pretty quick. I agree with you on Crowns and Hop being third, but I like their eight trill
pills. Yeah,
that was an awesome pilsner, really perfectly done to style. I don't want to disparage folks doing crazy shit because there's a lot of crazy shit that worked awesomely. That is a beer done exactly the way it should be.
Right. Yeah. And real quick, that is their charity beer, and that's the one they did with our friends over at Brewdog.
Yeah.
But Brewdog gave them $100,000 to give to Black breweries, and that's something we're going to talk to Tio about.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation about that.
Oh yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Anyway, right. Atrio Pills though, if y'all can find that one, especially in California, Lauren. Yeah, y'all can. We'll tell Lauren about it when she gets up here.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. My next one is. The problem is there's so many goods. It's hard to really make a top three.
Right. Hey, we could do honorable mentions too. Let's do it.
So I'm going to give you a couple honorable mentions.
Let's do it.
Dope Cider House, also out of Ohio.
Oh yes.
They did a cider and they did it with Angry Orchard, which was a really great. It was a cherry cider. My God, that was good. I'm not a huge cider fan.
I don't even like cherries or cider, and I love that.
Yeah, that was super good.
Right.
I gotta give a little shout out to Black Viking. Their beer the beer that I have wasn't as great as the other ones, but Sean, the owner of he's fucking great. That guy is just, again, he's similar to Tio. He's just like, you meet him and he's like, hey man, and just like it's all like he just radiates.
Yes.
You know? That's the best way to say it.
Right.
But I'm gonna go.
Hold on real quick, Doug. Check out Black Viking, y'all, on Instagram specifically. He does interviews. He is just like Doug said, he is energetic as fuck, and he's very, very passionate about black beer, but he's also very passionate about his own beer. And he's just great. And he's another one that we're gonna get on here at some point, Doug.
Yeah, I really hope so, because I love that guy. So my second one is, I'm gonna go a little bit off of what we talked about last night, but I'm going to go with the Brickterranean Beer Hut Braggot. So the Braggot was something Dave Mack had on our show and warned us about, and it's a 21% drink, ABV drink. That is a beer, but tastes to me a lot like kombucha. But man, that is a sipper. That is not something you just slug the fuck down, because you'll be taking a nap immediately afterwards, because wow. But it's super good. It's really delicious. And that wasn't even the highest ABV thing. They had a red ale that was 25%. I didn't try that because I was trying to get through the rest of the festival.
Right.
But it was super good. And it was really, like, even at that high ABV, it was really refreshing. And we were in the sun most of the day. So you're like, oh, well, okay. But that was really good. I'm just going to say that was one of the more unique things I had there that I really, really, really liked. And that stood out because of one is 21%. But it's delicious.
21%, like JHC says here, 20. It was 21%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was 24.
No, the highest. I think he had another one that was 23. I didn't have a chance. I did again. I only tried the one, and then he had the red ale that was 25, because their tagline is like high ABV life, because they just everything's super high ABV. But that was just something that I was glad I got a chance to try, and it was super unique and really good. Yep. And I'm going to go with you. My best was that last of the Mohican. That thing, that might be one of the like 5 best beers I've ever had in my life. It's just so fucking good. It's so well balanced. It's doesn't drink how high of an ABV it is. It's smooth. You could drink it any time. It's not something like it's a seasonal beer. It's just good all the time. So, kudos to Mac. We love Mac. He's great. His sister Latifa is fucking amazing. We love them. But yeah, that was my favorite. So sorry to ramble on there, folks.
No, nah, man. Don't be sorry, man. That's great. That's what we want. That's what I want to hear. And as far as who does the last of the Mohicans? That is Mac Brewing out of Philadelphia. When that becomes widely available, we're gonna let y'all know, because I need my hands on that, Doug. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one I wanted. That's the one that if I can get enough of it, I want to have it, so I always have some in my fridge. That's how good that beer is. That is.
And Black Viking JHG is in your area, buddy. He's I believe he's Maryland. So once again, he's there. They have a little bit more distribution than Mac does at this point.
Yeah, Mac doesn't distribute much, so
right. But you can JHG, you can keep an eye out for Black Viking. And go like his page on IG. He keeps everybody up on when his beer is available. But just like a lot of black brewers, unfortunately, they are cash strapped or fund strapped. So many of them are just really getting their feet under them distribution wise. Many of them don't produce enough beer to even be fucking with a distributor at this point. So, but we need to. Yep. We need to see what we can to support them.
Yeah, they're out of DC, by the way, so they're really close to.
Yeah, they're really close to JHG, and and he's been. I'm pretty sure there's some distribution going on with Black Viking, but I think it's self distribution. So hopefully it's on their website, JHG. If I were closer, I would know for sure, but I'm not closer, and they don't ship. So we have y'all just have to be patient, but y'all just have to keep an eye out, because what happens is a lot of black brewers don't have brick and mortars, but they do contract, or they have a way to, or they, collab like April Dove, and they get their beer out that way. Right. And so they can get enough capital to get their brick and mortar going. But I mean, They do distribute locally, Black Viking. Okay. Well, JHG, if you find some, I know Doug is a better trader than me, so I can be.
At JHG, I need to message you about a beer that's in Maryland that's only being released there that I need. So I'll be.
Yeah, and there's a good concentration of black brewers in Maryland. So there's also a good concentration of Brothers in Booze hosts.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have one here right now. It's time to bring her on after we're done rambling like a ramble. Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Pretty good. How are y'all? You made it. You survived the festival.
Doing great. I already had one beer. We're good.
We're covered, I think.
Maybe.
Or close. Yeah. How have you been? I haven't. Doug hasn't seen you in 3 weeks.
This is true. It's fine. We chat.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
So what do you have, Lauren? You got to have something to drink. Are you not ready yet?
I have a thing. I'm going to look to y'all in the comment section because I had a little bit of a fridge mishap. So I'm starting with something else.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
But I'm listening.
Excellent. So everybody else help me because Greg abandoned us. It's fine. I have a beer that I'm considering still drinking, but it was towards the back of the fridge. And when I took it out, it sounded a little slushy. And like it got too cold. I don't know what happened. It's not, our fridge is not that
cold. It might have just went over a little bit.
So I took it out, but I feel like I shouldn't have it yet, but it's probably still fine, right? Like later in
sure. It's just like having ice in your beer.
Okay. I was just like, it's not going to do anything weird, right?
Maybe, but this would be an interesting experiment to have like a slushy beer in the show, an unintentional slushy beer.
This is just like it's still a little, it's less icy sounding than earlier. Okay, I'm gonna give that one. I'm letting that one sit for a minute to let it be less ice.
Whatever you need.
So what I'm starting with is in a rebrand of beer for all. I'm drinking a sake. It's a cold sake. I don't know what it is. I did not purchase it, but. I know I'm not helpful. It's what does this say? It's a premium sake, and it says words that I don't know. I'm not helpful, but I'm drinking it in this very cute, like double shot glass. That's of California. And segue wise, it's got a little bear with like film stuff because California. So it's on brand in other ways. So it's totally fine.
So I want to hear what it's like because I have very little experience with sake. How does it taste? Like, what do you get out of that?
I feel like I was like, is Daniel still here? I was like, correct me, Daniel.
Hey, I'm here. You and I might not know a lot about sake, and that's fucking totally okay. I'm just wondering what you think of it.
I have had some. I don't know a lot about. I went to a sake tasting room once though in Portland-ish, not Portland proper, but like. Outside. The vicinity. It was super dope. There was like a woman who was talking about all this stuff, and like there's not women sake master, not brewers. Are they brewers? But that was a really cool experience. In terms of tasting it, this one is a cold one. Sometimes there are hot ones. I personally have not enjoyed the hot ones that I have had. It's just not a hot flavor I want. But this one is very light and crisp and drinkable, and it's like 15-16%.
Tread lightly.
It's fine. It's a tiny bottle. But also like
it's a tiny bottle, but it's gonna whoop my ass later.
Drinkable. Like it drinks very easy, especially I think because like it's cold and not that it hides flavors. It's like I almost want to say like citrus, but not hard citrus. Like citrus in like a very like subtle zest, crisp, clean vibe. I does not taste like alcohol. So
that could be good and bad, and that could make it really easy to drink.
It's definitely both. But yeah, so I'm starting with that because of accidental beer slushy experiment.
Yeah, Greg, have you ever had sake? Because I think I've had it once.
It's really sweet.
It can vary. Again, it's kind of like beer. I feel like there's hot, well, not hot beer, but like there's hot, cold, and beer. Even within it, like there's a spectrum of like it can be, depending on how it's brewed, like with the rice fungus stuff that I forget what it's called, but I learned this at the tasting place. Sometimes they're like milkier looking versus clear. So there's a whole world of sake that I have been loosely introduced to.
Cool.
Beer for all.
So you want to tell us what it tastes like?
Yeah.
I mean, are we sharing? What are we sharing now here? Sorry.
That's all right.
You cut out. What would you like from me?
How's it taste?
Oh, God. I was like, how does, and then it cut. And I was like, I don't know what you said.
Okay.
This is
really simple.
Professional. This is very professional. It drinks very, I kind of said some of this, but like it drinks very easy. It's crisp. It's light. It's like not strong enough to be like, when I say fruity, it's like not fruity, but it's like fruitier than like a LaCroix. So like there's like flavor, but it's like not like a apple flavored something. But it's got like a loose fruity vibe, but it's very crisp and clean and drinkable and tasty and not overly sweet. It's not bitter. It's not it's not tart. It's like very like, that's why I go fruity. Like it's a little bit sweet, but like not, I wouldn't say that it's a sweet beverage.
Gotcha.
But again, danger, because it's easy to drink and tasty and refreshing.
Nice. Doug, let's get to our beers real quick, and then we will have Lauren bring in our guest. And here's mine. I don't know if you can see, it's a can of worms, Doug. It's an extra special bitter.
Ooh. All right. I'm jealous of that. I can't find many of those. So yeah.
Yeah, Necromancer again, Doug. And they had the English mild and they had an ESB. And I'm like, y'all might be a brewery that I would love to be close to, giving you make these styles that are so English based, basically.
And nice glass for it too.
You got multiple glassware happening this evening?
Wow.
I have multiple glassware every time I'm on here, just let's be clear.
Yeah, we kind of snobs that way. Doug, this is very nice, man. It's what you want out of an ESB, malty, a little bit of hops, not too crazy, slammable, drinkable. At the pub where we were, you just tossing them back or spilling them on people like I was.
Are you out of practice?
It was a messy week.
It's been a while, yeah.
It was a messy weekend. I had to get my chops back. But
I want to say that I just like the idea that you can say like you're going to open a can of worms specifically. Like that's
open up a whole can of worms. Right.
How dare you?
I'm not trying to do that, but we might be opening up a can of worms with our guests. I'm not sure. We're going to figure that out real soon, right, Lauren?
Yes. I was like, Doug, do you have a new?
I'm gonna throw mine up real quick, and then let's bring our guest in, okay?
Yeah. I'm excited. Let's go.
No worries. So this was handed to me by Dave Mack, actually. This is Dresden Codex. It's a Mexican-style dark lager from Human Robot, which he did a collab with that was at Barrel and Flow that I did not have a chance. I didn't find it to try it. I was a little upset that I didn't get to try that collab. That was a collab.
See, again, Doug gets beer from Mac, and I didn't get shit. There's a trend here, dog.
Did you ask?
Did you ask? No. He's like, here, man. Yeah, I was at the bottle shop.
I am like the Lauren. I am like the biggest Mac fan ever, and I don't get shit from Mac.
Maybe you're trying too hard. You just gotta loosen up a little.
I bet you that's what it is, Lauren. There's something going on now.
Maybe it's too scary for him.
Right.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a heavy pour there, huh?
I mean, that's not new, right?
No, I tend to pour aggressively, so I'm gonna let this settle a bit before I have it. So I'll just get to it here in a minute.
Cool.
But it's actually coming down pretty quick.
That's what pretty quickly. I hope she didn't say that. Or I hope they didn't say that. Yeah, I might be a little bit. The fanboy might be a little bit too much, Jay.
Yeah, that might be
right. Doug keeps it cool, and I'm all like, It's back. Oh my God, he's the shit. Anyway, go on, Doug.
Okay, quick thing about, and I'm sorry to digress. I have to tell this very quick story about Mac at the beer fest. We're outside of a conference room, and Greg is looking at something, and Dave comes behind him and goes, "Oh, I love your hair," and touches his hair, and Greg's face was like, and he turned, and it was Dave, and Dave just fucking lost it. And he was like, "Holy shit!" And he goes, "I was about to say, at this festival, you're going to do that?" And he was like, and it was just a great moment.
It was so horrible, Lauren. It was so horrible.
It was hilarious.
Right, but he's the only one that could have probably pulled that off without me swinging on somebody. Doug. That was like, I was like, "What in the hell? Are you serious? Are you serious?" So, Lauren, it's time for a guest, but I do want to say one thing before you give her a lovely opening and introduction. From what I could see here in the green room, her background is a 10, y'all. So it's really, really good, Lauren. You know how we are with these backgrounds, but
this is fair. I would not expect less from her, though. She's very aware of what's on screen.
Yeah, well, her background is a 10.
All right, well,
go on, Lauren.
Okay, so this lovely person's background, who we're going to see in a second, is my lovely friend, Whitney Anne Adams, who is a costume designer of many a movie, probably ones that people have heard of or seen. Some of my ones that I can actually see are like Freaky, Happy Death Day, Happy Death Day 2. She also worked on the Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, which I did not watch because it was too scary, and a bunch of other things. And that is why my little hint, if you didn't see the promo, was movie stuff on my glass. And I've known her since the 6th grade. So without further ado, let's just get her on here so I can stop talking and she can start talking.
Without further ado, Whitney Anne Adams, y'all.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Whitney.
Look at the background.
Look at that. That's a 10.
I know.
Look at
that.
Room Raider.
I know. I have an office now. It's the most exciting thing of my adult life.
Hey, Whitney, you ever see Room Raider on Twitter where they rate the rooms?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Okay.
I want a pineapple. Someone give me a golden pineapple.
Yes. Y'all, listen, I already gave my opinion, but before we even get to anything with Whitney, y'all critique it. Is it a 10 or is it perfection for you, Lauren? What is it?
Doug, you go first because I've been talking, so you rate first or second, I guess.
It'd be extremely difficult for me to give a 10. I'm one of those people, but 9.8 because one, I'm a book hound, and all the extra memorabilia have like you can't. Where I am is it's like this is my little office space. So, but like my bookshelf, I have like Halo memorabilia and like all kinds of crazy stuff. So I love all that, like the vibes. Perfect.
Yay! And it's not the Crystal Skull, but it's a skull bank. But I do have Indy up there because Indiana Jones is my heart.
What is funny is the skull kind of looks almost like C-3PO with the lighting.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Wait.
Where'd she go?
Gone.
She'll come back. I imagine maybe something happened with maybe a window happened. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know what happened. I hit the wrong
But you're back.
thing. I'm back. I'm here.
All right, technology.
Oh my God, technology.
Lauren.
I do have. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You go, and then I will room rate you.
Oh, I do have a drink. I have a drink to share.
Oh yes, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna room rate you, and then you're gonna.
Okay, great.
Talk about your drink.
Okay,
and then we'll move forward.
Okay.
I also don't usually give outstanding all the way at the end of the rating spectrum, but I honestly might give it. I think I'm giving it 10 because there are reasons. Many things to look at, which I'm intrigued and I want to know stuff about people's background, like what can I go inspect and what's behind there. Additionally, like there's books and other memorabilia, paraphernalia, things to look at. Like it's not just one thing. There's a plethora of items. Also, knowing Whitney, I don't think I've seen this particular view when I've chatted with her. So it's new to me. So bonus points to get you to the 10 this time.
Yes. I know I'm usually facing this direction. You know, usually my camera faces my Peloton and that's not a great background.
It's very real. That's cool. I got a cat tree, so same vibes. Cover it up.
I have a beer
Oh,
painting.
nice.
So
solid. Also,
usually I have paintings that my wife have done, but I kind of want a more beer centric one, and I didn't really want to be like, "Hey, paint me a beer picture." That's
Right.
really fucking asshole-ish stuff.
Doug, that's a 7.
I was like, is
I'll
that
take
up from
7.
last time? That might be about the same. But Whitney, tell us what you're drinking.
So I am lucky enough. I just moved to Richmond, Virginia in December. So I live a 30-second drive from Stone Brewery. So I'm drinking their Dayfall Belgian white, and I have their commemorative Stone Brewery
nice little
glass with me. So I go there every Thursday for trivia. So Stone Brewery is, my favorite new Richmond haunt.
Yeah, Richmond has a bunch of good craft beer people, and we could point you to them.
Yeah.
We
I
will.
want all the
absolutely.
recommendations. I'm such a homebody. I don't go anywhere. So I need
right. Yeah.
Also,
well,
she's
a great company here,
and knows some stuff. And
yes, I want to know
great beers before, so y'all can chat.
Yeah, you're in great company here. We're all homebodies.
I love it. Perfect. Although literally 3 minutes before I came on, I just booked a job, so I'm leaving town very soon.
Oh, okay.
Yay! And also chaos.
Like chaos.
Right.
Chaos is what we do here.
So Lauren, you first.
Yeah, I mean, just to get us started, I'm going with like the easy question, I guess. Even though I know you a little bit, you're a costume designer, and I feel like the general populace like doesn't fully know what that means or like what you do. Other than like, oh, there's a costume on screen.
Cosplay.
Yeah. So like,
right?
I don't know. Do you want to give us a little bit more of like this is? I know it's not the same ever, I'm sure, but like this is generally what the job is, or like what you do, or what you like to do, and like why you do it.
So yeah, costume design is very chaotic in a lot of ways. I'm basically in charge of all of the clothes that you see in a given movie. So, I have, when I was starting up in the industry, I worked on a team that helped make all those costumes happen. Like one of my first movies was The Great Gatsby. So I was in charge of a lot of the, things on that. But, we happened to win an Oscar. So that was kind of nice for my first movie ever, which was pretty wild. But no, it's a lot of 16, 18-hour days, a lot of running around, buying clothes, sourcing things, doing character development, doing research. You have to wear all these hats of being a psychologist, being a historian, also being a designer on top of that. So there's so many different things that you need to know in order to figure out what people wear in any given movie or TV show or a situation. So it's a lot more than just, oh, this looks pretty or this looks nice. It's thinking about how a character stores their clothes. Do they throw it on the ground? Do they put it in the closet? How long have they had that item? Where did they get it from? Does it mean something to them, or is it just sort of there? There's all these like psychological questions that I love asking for every single character I do, which is my favorite part of the job.
Wow.
Greg, do you want to go next? Because I have a question too. Okay.
No.
All right. So to that point, how do you navigate the people playing the character versus the character? Because I imagine some people have very finicky things about what they'll do and what they'll wear and how you wear it. And how do you navigate that bit with the character they're supposed to play if they're supposed to look a certain way and they're like, I don't like that, or maybe I need it to fit a certain way or whatever. How do you navigate that bit?
That is like a very great question, because it is so much a collaboration. It's not just like what my design is what happens. It's very much a process. As soon as I get actors cast, and then I'm allowed to talk to them. So I've got to wait till I get their deal memo. Once I get their deal memo, it means they're officially hired, and then I can talk to them. So the second I get their deal memo, I reach out, we start a conversation, because before I start shopping, before I start doing anything, I mean, I've already done basic research and I sort of have the direction the director and I want to go into, but I have to talk to them immediately. So we're on the same page every step of the way. So it's really important that when they're on camera, I don't want them to be thinking about if what they're wearing is correct or not. I want them to feel like their character. So I could design something that I think is perfect, but if the actor doesn't feel that that's the right thing for the character, you can see in their performance. So it's so important for the greater good of the movie to make sure that we're on the same page literally the entire way. And it's a collaboration. That's what I love about this job, is that I get to work really close with the actors and the director and the design staff. I'm really a central point in any movie because I'm working with all the crew as well as all the actors. So I'm sort of the center of the hurricane.
Wow. So I just imagine you at Macy's with a credit card and a shopping. Like, is that a wrong image? Is that a wrong image?
Not at all. I mean, I go to Macy's every single, I travel for most of my movies. So whatever city I'm in, definitely I've been to that Macy's plenty of times. But the Macy's in New York, I lived in New York for 15 years. And, it's the largest store in, the world, basically. So I've spent so much time on every floor of that Macy's in my life. Hours upon days upon days.
But that can't work for Doug knows, and he groans every time him and me and his wife talk about the show, and Doug's like, rah, 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 rah. But
I know what you're gonna fucking say too.
I know what he's gonna say.
I can't wait.
Shut up, Doug. Who cares what you think now? Anyway, Whitney. So I can see that working for a contemporary show like Stranger Things is a contemporary show. I could see that Macy's thing working, but how would that work if you were on Peaky Blinders, where it's a timepiece? Or how would that work for Game of Thrones? Do you do a lot of, like online, or because again, Macy's ain't cutting it, and there's not gonna be no dragon suits at Macy's, right? Or
well, for Game of Thrones has all the money, so probably most things are custom made in-house or through different costume shops. But when you come to sort of a mid-size production, you do a lot of rentals from all the costume shops in LA, across the country, even across the world. There's lots of costume houses everywhere in Europe and London. Most of the ones in America are in the West Coast, but there's some scattered on the East Coast too. But the main ones are in LA. I'm about to go do a period movie, and it's going to be a mixture of making clothes and renting clothes. So you can't really run out to the store and just buy anything. When you get to mid-century, you have to do rentals and you have to do builds, custom made stuff.
I got another follow-up, unless y'all
go for it.
So then what happens? First of all, I want to know about any funny wardrobe malfunctions that you can talk about. But also, what happens to the clothes that you buy when everything's over? Is that something that like the actors get to keep, or do you get to keep it, or you donate it, or y'all try to do we go to TJ Maxx and look for an exchange, or how does that all look?
Well, everything that's used in the movie is owned therefore by the studio or the production company of the movie. So they hold on to everything until the movie is finished being edited. Because what if there's reshoots? What if, we need to do a pickup shot of this? So everything that was seen on camera is held. And then once that's done and the movie's in the can and officially finished, they either just keep them in storage, or they sell them to one of the costume houses, or they just live in the studio storage. Like for Gatsby, all of our clothes went back to Warner Brothers, and they're still in storage at Warner Brothers lot.
Cannot even imagine
what
that would look like for because there's
warehouses.
So many studios and so many films. Yeah. Holy goodness.
Yeah.
I got another question.
Of course, go ahead.
So were you the girl that played dress up with the dolls when you were young?
No, I hated dolls.
Okay.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? How does one become who you are? It's a fascinating job, but it's not something that I think people aspire to be. If that makes sense. Immediately.
No,
right. It's not like I want to be a costume designer and I want to work. Yeah. So where did you find that? Because it's such a creative niche lane that it's not something that is so mainstream that a lot of people want to do, like doctors or nurses. And
Right.
you know,
I never even
yeah.
thought it was a career until I got to college. So Lauren knows me so well. Lauren and I've known each other since 6th grade. We were the kids playing basketball at lunch every day. We were the jocks. We were the people in sweatpants and basketball clothes for all of high school, basically.
So fashionable.
So I was in drama, but I was a terrible actor. I had horrible stage fright, but there's something about theater and entertainment I loved. My family were big movie people growing up, so we would watch movies literally all the time. We would have like picnics in front of the TV with like our dining room, tablecloth on the ground and watch movies every night, during dinner. So like we're a big movie family. But I never thought it was a career. And then I went to college for pre-med. I lasted 3 weeks. And I was taking like chemistry, calculus, and then my one fun class was intro to theater design. And 3 weeks in, I was like, this is what I have to do the rest of my life. I've never been so sure about something. And it seems really crazy looking back on it now, but it just all fit into place in little amount of time. And I can't even really describe how this is what I need to do forever. And there's only a couple moments in my life that I felt like that strong, like I know the answer to this. I got really sick in high school and I had to get a bunch of organs removed and I was in the hospital for a long time. And I watched Moulin Rouge every single day that I was in the hospital and at home. And it got me through this horrible, terrible time in my life. I was very depressed. I was really, really sick. I was down to like 70 pounds. I was really ill. And that movie distracted me from my life. And I think now looking back, the visuals is such a huge part of that distraction, and that movie got me through the worst time in my life. And so to give people entertainment, especially now with like the world that we live in, to be able to give people either joy or a distraction from what's going on, that's why I love what I do so much, because I needed that and now I can give that to other people.
That actually was something that reminded, as you were talking about, I was like, oh yeah, but also all the movies, like you talk about your family being movie people and everything like that. But I specifically thought of your Moulin Rouge thing, but like not just costume design, which I know that sort of in retrospect, you were like, oh my God, the costumes, but also just not just like we're a movie family, but like I'm going to go with infatuation of just movies. Like you love movies so hard.
I got a job just to get, like, I got a job at the country club at the golf course just so I could buy a TV and buy DVDs. That's the reason I got a job.
And because of that, that's why I also worked at that same golf course, because she was there.
I was like, Lauren, come work with me at the golf course.
I don't know what's happening. But yeah, like this is sort of a little bit adjacent, but it's fascinating to me how like you are so movies, and I'm like not against movies. I just don't prioritize them in the same way that you do. But I feel like it's so in like your heart and soul. I don't know if you want to do a summary version here, but like we were talking one time, catching up, and I stopped at one point because I was like, Whitney, you could give a like masterclass college course in like why you should see movies in a theater. Because I mean, there's pros and cons either way, but movies and the experience of movies, I feel like you can speak so much to, and I'm not sure, I know that's like kind of like a setup without a specific question, but I feel like
no,
it's totally. Just so you like don't even want to like pigeonhole you into one thing with that, but movies. I
mean, one of the hardest things about the pandemic, and everything about the pandemic, but not being able to go to movie theaters for so long was like one of the hardest, non-health aspect of it for me, is that going to the movies and seeing a movie in the theater is my favorite thing in the world. I would go on a random Tuesday morning or this, that, just taking myself to the movies. And there's something about turning your phone off, putting it away. I'm easily distractible. So like trying to watch a movie at home is really hard for me. Also, I have crippling secondhand anxiety that I've had my whole life. So if there's a cringe moment or this, that, I will literally pause and like run out of the room. Like I have a really hard time getting through those moments. So I can't really watch The Office. I can't really watch cringe comedy. But the thing about sitting in a movie theater, I'm forced to watch it. I have to, there is no pausing there. And it's always easier and better. And it's not, it goes right through like whatever issue is on screen and I forget about it, and there's something about the movies that are made to be seen big.
Dune,
I just thought,
like Dune or something.
yes, like
Dune.
Dune.
Something you need
I go to the
see on
IMAX.
YouTube.
Yeah, as many times as I can go see something, and like seeing Maverick in the IMAX this year was like one of the greatest experiences I've had in a movie theater in a long time. And just the magic of the sound and the visuals, and just being like literally enveloped in the story. There's nothing else that compares to it. I love it so much. So it just brings me so much joy, and getting to see my movie on the big screen, something that I spent so much of my life doing, is again a feeling that I can't really describe how awesome it is.
So you enjoy that, as opposed to, do you look at it like, oh, I could have got that shirt better. I could have had a better shirt for that one. Do you look at it in like
you like judge it?
Yeah. Are you still judging it, Whitney? Are you at a point of just, it's over, it's done? Some people can't stop, if that makes sense, critiquing themselves. So that when they see the final project, they're like, oh, I could have did this better. Oh, I did that. You know what I mean? Or is it just more of a joy thing where you're just like, enjoying it as a whole, because it's clearly a collaboration and it ain't all really about you, even though there is a specific part that is about you. Even that still seems a little bit, it reminds me that you're maybe like, maybe I'm wrong, a wide receiver or a running back on a football team. You may not be actually the quarterback, because I feel the quarterback is probably more of the producer.
And
maybe
director,
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Or the director. You know what I'm saying? But you're a big cog. Like if we didn't, or like you're a left tackle. Like if we didn't have a good left tackle, we don't have a good football team.
Exactly.
You don't have a good team. You don't have a good. So how does that look when you're sitting down and you're watching something that you helped do? Are you critical, hands off at that point? Where are you at?
There's a part of me that can't completely turn off. Oh, I wish that collar is kind of messed up, or this or that. But the overwhelming feeling, because usually I see a movie over a year after we finished it. So much time has passed that I've like all of the sort of bad things you've forgotten. And it's really just the joy of seeing it. Also, when I barely see what we film, I am on set to establish a look. And once it's established, I have to run away and do fittings and do shopping. And like, I am rarely on set. I'm only on set to establish like the first shot, and then I leave. So actually seeing a movie for me is like, I finally get to see what we did. Of course I get dailies and I get to see sort of what we filmed and I scrub through it, but it's really just to get specific visuals. I don't actually sit and watch the scenes because I don't have time. So I actually get to fully see the movie we made for the first time. So it's actually pretty magical. I remember crying when I saw Gatsby for the first time, just like full on sobbing.
Wow. Cool. And the people in the movie theaters like, what's going on? What's going on with her? Right. Oh man. So we have a couple questions from the audience here. It'd be let's see, is there a period piece production that was particularly challenged for you?
Oh, I'm trying to think of like a particular thing. I mean, Gatsby itself was very much a challenge. So I was the costume design assistant, basically the second assistant designer. And so I was on that for over a year. And just the sheer volume of clothes. And we made almost everything from scratch. So pretty much 99% of everything was made custom. And so it was just a lot of running around, a lot of paperwork, a lot of everything. So that one was just a challenge in the sheer magnitude of what we were doing. Like our costume budget was in the millions of dollars, like, and every dollar was allocated. We had so much to do. So it was just the sheer volume of that was definitely particularly challenging. And then on the other end, my very first movie that I designed is this black and white horror movie. My entire costume budget was $3,000, and it took place over like 3 decades. And
3 decades, so it's $1,000 a decade.
I know.
Holy
Luckily,
shit.
it was a small cast, so I didn't have that many background. It was just it's a very disturbing movie, but I'm so proud of it, and I don't think I would change anything. I came in at $2,995.
Bravo, you did it.
You didn't say magician is one of the things that you had to do.
Yeah.
People think we're magicians, but oh boy, I just took 8 months off to recover from last year. I did 2 movies back to back, and so I worked 11 months straight, and so I needed a lot of time to recover because it is intense to do what I do, and I'm always on call. I'm working 24/7 basically. So it definitely, like, I like the really intense work and then the breaks in between. But yeah, whatever the size movie, you just sort of make it work. And so we had, multi-million-dollar costume budget to a $3,000 costume budget and just make it work.
So are you a cosplayer?
I'm not, but I love like being a judge or watching, or it's like I always see all the Comic-Con posts, and I love that. I think it's too close to what I do for work, so I can't.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Oh, cool. Of course, we're not expecting you to name any names, but we would love to hear if you had any stories that don't include names, as far as actors being finicky about what they're wearing. It's a great question because I could just see this. I could be wrong.
Oh, I have plenty of stories. I won't name any names, but there was this one actor who was flying in from another country, and I tried for multiple weeks to talk to him, just to be like, what do you think your character would wear? Because there was no indication in the script. It could be anything we wanted it to be. I had an idea, but I could not get his assistants to get back to me, could not talk to him. I tried email, tried phone, tried text, tried everything. No response. Of course, it was a lower budget movie, so they were flying him in from on the day. So I'd have to fit him the morning of shooting, and he had 4 costumes. I set his, the options in his room, and I'm running around trying to, do everything else, all the other characters that I've dressed in the day. One of the PAs is like, this actor, he says that none of his clothes fit. The other thing that I do when I first talk to an actor is be like, hey, these are the measurements I have for you. Are they correct? Are they up to date? So important. Well, turns out that the measurements his assistants gave me were for a movie where he was wearing a fat suit. And so none of the clothes were remotely close to his.
Not even close?
No. So, but I suspected something was going to go awry because this whole situation was not the way it should be going. So I had a shopper at JCPenney waiting. It's like crazy early in the morning. It's like 6 a.m. But she's waiting there outside JCPenney waiting for it to open. I call her. I was like, get this. So she's running around shopping. We had to use like some of his own clothes for the first costume he wore. And then like every single time he had a new costume, I had to go to his room. We'd had to pick it out together. He would not look at me. He would barely acknowledge my existence. So that was really fun. I look a lot younger than I am. And I think a lot of people like to treat me like I don't know what I'm doing, but I've been in this industry a long time.
Right.
It's very frustrating when that happens.
Right. You're a woman too, so then there's
also that on top of it. But in my whole career, I've had the greatest actors. That's like I know like 2 bad eggs out of my whole career. So I've been extraordinarily lucky that I work with the greatest people. And so I'm really, really thankful that I only have a handful of bad stories.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. That makes me feel a little bit better because, the projection that sometimes we put on actors, whether it be, I think, Whitney, I think it's funny, actually. I think we're either culty about it. Like, we just love them, and it doesn't matter. Right. And it doesn't matter what they do, what they have done in their personal life. We just love them for that role that they played. And then you have the other, where it's just haters. Like we've had people say, remember we had people, we talked about this a lot of times, and people are like, I don't like that guy. He's conceited, blah, blah, blah. So we're really either very harsh on actors or we're very light. It goes back and forth. It's kind of weird, actually.
Really tough. And I feel getting to know all these actors actually personally in a real life scenario, and their job is so hard. I don't know if people really realize how emotionally vulnerable they have to be, how much they have to put into their performances on set, how hard their life is outside of set with the press, with media, with everything, especially with social media now. Like their job is so hard and it never turns off. And so one of my biggest jobs in my head is that I am one of their protectors. I am someone who is a liaison to all the other departments. I know what their insecurities are. I know what they need. I know how to get them what they need if they don't want to talk to a certain person about something. I'm very much a protector in my role because they have to put themselves so out there every time. And so I think that's what's so hard about our, sort of culture and media is that people just, well, they make all this money, this and that. And I'm like, most actors don't. Most actors are living paycheck to paycheck too. It's really tough out there and they have to deal with the scrutiny on top of it all. So I'm very much an advocate to being kind to our lovely actors.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Lauren?
Hey, Lauren.
I'm going to break in for a moment. It's like the movie intermission. Let's go to the lobby snack time and talk about. I opened a beverage that I said that was icy and it's no longer icy, so no slushy. Sorry, it's like there's like a chunk of ice.
We'd rather it not be slushy. So
this is true. But what I have is a honey wheat ale with tangerine. That's called Bees Better Have My Honey.
That's an amazing name.
And I bought this one for the name and the can art. I was like, I have to. So Bees Better Have My Honey, and it's a tangerine wheat ale. I don't know what it says. 5.2% alcohol. I don't know who that does this again because I didn't really look. I was like, that's hilarious. Morgan Territory Brewing, wherever they are.
That
I
sounds
will
great.
read this better and find out. Oh, it's in my area. It's in Tracy, California, which is a town that like most people don't know unless you're here. But yeah, I have sipped some of it already. It poured very nicely.
The Bay Area.
Yes, in the Bay Area. So it poured very nicely. It has, it's not like overly citrusy. Like I feel like when I go to take a sip, I can like smell it, but it's not like overly tangerine, but it's in there and I really enjoy it.
That sounds delightful.
Again, crisp, like the honey is there. It kind of like smooths it out a little bit. It's like crisp, but like, it's not like creamy, but like almost with like the honey smooth. I like it. I would absolutely buy this again for the flavor and the can art and the title. Doug, did you have another beverage?
I do, but I heard Whitney. Oh. Yeah, did you open another one? Before I get to mine, because I have a question following what I open.
Okay.
Oh, I have two of these, so I was.
Oh, second the same.
A second the same.
Oh, you have great, cool. That's fine. All right. Yeah, you don't have to do a second review of the same beer. We're gonna. So what I'm gonna open here is I had to buy it because of the stupid name.
Great.
Fly for a Maple Rye.
Oh my God.
Nice.
It's dumb. It has a red hat. God, it's dumb. But I had to buy it.
It feels like something you should buy. Absolutely.
I'm not generally a huge fan of rye stouts, but Central Water.
No.
Let's see. Doug, you might be a little choppy. Well,
oh no.
See what happens. Doesn't usually like rye stouts, it sounds like. Also, I think I heard him say Central. You got Central Water, Central Brewery. I feel like I recognized that brewery, but I don't know why. I was like, what else do they do?
Yeah, they're like one of the best breweries in Wisconsin here.
Okay, that's probably why. I was like, I know I recognize this, but I have no reason. I don't know why.
Doug is frozen.
Doug is
frozen. Yeah, he's
like
frozen.
My beer was.
He's not moving.
I hear robots.
Oh no.
Doug, try again. Come back after.
Right. You be choppy, Doug is right. Well, while Doug gets his settled, ladies, we will go forward. Lauren, did you have a follow-up?
we distracted with beer. But going back to what Whitney was talking about before was, I mean, you kind of covered how it is now Lauren and Whitney show. We could talk for hours.
We could, Lauren and I are famously talk for hours.
It's very real. Bye, Greg. See you next time. So Whitney, just like we were talking, like it's no big deal. You talked about earlier about having to be like costume designer, sure, and also like psychologist and historian, and then also even more so talking about what you were just saying about like being on set and almost like therapist, psychologist to the actors and actresses and whatever in between other departments and whoever needs them to do stuff or whatever. So you have a lot to do, but I feel like it's like fascinating is not necessarily the right word, but like fascinating and unfair and frustrating knowing all of this and knowing you and like how much of the job happens and like how little I guess I want to go like recognition, potentially pay. Like I'm thinking like Oscars, we know like directors and actors and actresses, and that's most of the categories that like get talked about. And just like the recognition and like knowledge and equality that might happen in that way. And I don't know if you can speak to any of that.
Yes. So I am very, very involved. So there's union locals throughout the country, but there's two main ones for costume designers. There's one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast. I'm a member of both because I'm from California, would love to work in California, but I got started in the East Coast. So I am one of the co-chairs on both the pay equity committees on both the unions. So
make it happen.
I'm very, very involved in pay equity. The problem is that costume design has typically been not really respected as much as some of the other crafts. It's sort of looked at culturally as women's work. We're paid less. We're actually in the West Coast, we're one of the lowest paid departments across all of entertainment. We a lot of our staff earn less than set medics, less than the crafty, less than like so many other department heads, and we earn way less than production designers, which we see as our comparable department. We're doing the same type of work for the same amount of hours. So we're trying to advance our cause is upping our rates and to be seen as equitable to production design. And that's not to disparage our wonderful colleagues who are production designers in the art department. They are so talented, so wonderful. But we just want to bring our wages up to their level. So that's sort of a campaign that I really believe in, and I've been working really hard on the last, however many months and years. So we're trying to bring a lot of eyes on our cause and just to remember that like most of the screen is made up of costumes. Most of what you see is the actors wearing our work. And so we just want to bring our scale wages to an equitable place. And also it affects our retirement. Our retirement is hundreds of thousands of dollars less than production designers that are at the end of our career, the way that it's currently set up. And we just had this big campaign from the Costume Designers Guild to all of these actors and directors and producers made videos supporting our cause. So it's just nice to get the word out there that we're not being paid fairly, and we haven't been for a long time, or treated fairly. So it's something that we're working on. I just today finished, we have a big social media campaign coming up soon for the Emmys. So I literally just finished the last piece of it today. Used my Photoshop skills for good. So, if you follow me and follow the Costume Designers Guild, you'll see our campaign coming up in a couple of weeks.
So everybody follow Whitney.
Follow me and just sort of, when you watch a movie, think about how many hours and how much work everyone poured their hearts into to make it. It's not just a job. It's really a way of life for all of us. No one would be in this industry if we didn't love it, because it's too brutal. It's too hard. So all we're asking for is to be treated fairly and to be respected fairly. And, that's the biggest problem with costume design, especially as a woman. There's so much stuff I've had to do on set to try to just be treated fairly, equally. There was one movie I had to wear a 3-piece suit to set every day just to be treated like, just to be respected. The lengths that we have to go to just to try to do our jobs.
Right. To be like,
it's a problem.
Yeah. A baseline.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. And, you know, I've been very lucky to have great colleagues, but there's a lot of people in this industry who don't like to respect women or respect costume designers. So something that I'm actively trying to change.
Yeah.
So
I had
that
another thought, but I was like,
speaks to
Doug had
something.
a thing.
Yeah, so I think that speaks to something that on the show we've talked about quite a bit in other realms, not just in this realm because we've never had a costume designer, and the idea of equity and equality and how they're not exactly the same thing, but they work together, and how you can talk about equality but not talk about equity. If you're not tying together, you're not getting the result that you should. If you're working 12, 18 hours a day, that is an extraordinarily laborious job. Whatever your job is, that's more than what most people like. You know, I work an IT job and I work 40 to 45 hours a week, but I'm salary. So whatever hours I work over, I don't get paid for. But the idea of like you guys putting in that much time, that much effort, and just all your focus is character. I'm trying to help them. It's not just the language. It's not just the speech writing. It's not just the film. You have to look the right way. And honestly, we see everything we do. The first thing we do is with our eyes. Whether we eat, whether we watch something, everything is eyes first. Unless you're blind, of course, which is a different beast. And what I'm just saying is that, like, if you're not vision impaired, your first take up anything, almost anything, with the exception of music, if you're not watching a video, is visual. So you're going to, like, if you're seeing a character in the outfit, is it right? You're looking at it and go, well, that's not right. Like, it's going to take you out of the story. So
yeah, completely.
I think you doing the, hey, we just want some equity. We want to be equal. We want to just, we should be paid what our work is, that should be valued at. You know, it's the same thing. Teachers, it's like there's a million professions, and especially if you're female, we know just off the top, if you're female, you're already getting paid less than any man doing the same job. On top of that, you're also having to fight just to get equity in that. So I appreciate that you do all this work for something that people don't get to pay attention to as much as they probably should. So that's a long-winded way of saying thank you. So I apologize for that long-winded.
No, thank you. I mean, it's so important to me, and I don't want the next generation to have to deal with the stuff I have to deal with. I'm going to help change it. You know, there's something about trying to make sure that no one has to go through the stuff that I dealt with or that, you know, other colleagues of mine have dealt with. It's just not okay. And, you know, if I can I'll do whatever I can to make it happen, you know, and to also just do the general fight for being cared for, you know, to not working over insane hours. Yes, we work insane hours, but I don't want to make my staff, like, I will work those crazy hours because I've chosen this career. I am paid on a flat. I do not get overtime. I am essentially salaried by the week. So I make sure that my staff gets off when they're supposed to and they're not overworked. And, you know, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to me and what I can do to care for my staff.
That actually brings up, I think JHG earlier maybe said this, but like Doug thanked you and like you do a lot, but has an actor, because of, I mean, we're going to go with actor. There's other like your team and stuff like that. Yeah. But has an actor been able to recognize you for like all that you have to do for them? Do you also get the, I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of great experiences. Yeah. Like, has that actually happened for you?
Oh my gosh. So many amazing actors have really gone out of their way to thank me, be it, you know, just words or a card or a gift. I mean, I have this blanket on my couch that one of my actors in my last movie gave me that I've used every single day that I sit and watch a movie on, you know, and it's embroidered with the logo from the movie. And, you know, my actor didn't have to do that, but she did. And I'm so grateful. And I think of her every time I use that, which is every day. So it's just nice to have kind, caring people, because when you give so much to yourself to help them, it's nice that they receive it and they see it, you know, because that's my job. That's what I'm here to do, whether they see it or not. but it's really nice when they do.
That's actually super. Like, I mean, this kind of expands for another thing to me, but I don't know. It's like, Doug, if you have a follow up, I can wait.
There's a lot of branches. There's a lot of branches to talk about here, right?
I know.
I have a whole bunch of questions. So
okay, let's go with
so
Doug.
I'm going to ask you a question. So my question is going to take us a bit out of this realm, but what I want to ask is, so you talked about your family being movie watchers. I'm going to ask a very specific question about how you watch movies. All right. To me, you watch a movie, are you trying to discern where the movie is going, or you just watch it, kind of take the journey and see where it takes you?
Oh, like solve the movie?
Like, are you going? Yeah, are you trying to solve the movie? Or are you trying to let the story take it? Yeah.
I'm very much I am just living second by second. So whatever's happening in the moment, that's what I'm never really thinking ahead. I want to be living in what's happening at that current moment, because I'm always just sort of awestruck by the work that's happening, be it a stunt or a costume or a cinematography or a line or a performance, like whatever is happening in that current moment. It just sort of, I love movies so much, and it makes me so happy to just sort of, it's a miracle that any movie ever gets made. It is so hard to make a movie. So
it's like you're watching the miracle at present.
Every time you watch a movie, there are so many people who worked so hard to make that movie happen. Even if the movie is not good, so many people worked so hard to make it happen. So I'm just thinking about them. I'm thinking about what's happening on the screen. I'm taking in the visuals. So I'm very much a second by second movie watcher, and I always have been.
Doug, what are you?
Yeah.
I'm like Whitney. Take me on the journey. Let me see where you're going.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked him this question is I'm going to point out that I is very much need to figure it out. Need to figure out where this is going. That's just how her brain works. Because it's always, I need to prepare for what's coming next. That's just how her brain works and mine works. It's just like if I look. If I'm watching a movie and that's where I'm at.
I feel like it sounds like you and Jill. That I feel like is a challenge, because I've definitely had those moments. I think that I'm generally with movies that I'm like, okay, I'm about to like watch a story. Something's gonna happen and then something's gonna end. Because it's also different when you're watching a TV show where like cliffhangers and like the next episode and stuff like that. Like that's a whole different vibe. I mean, like similar but different vibe. But like with a movie, I feel like I definitely watch like moment by moment and just like even sometimes just accept things from like, this doesn't, like, what is that? I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense later. I just like accept it and move on. But when it's like a series of something, like when it's a TV show, oftentimes I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. We have to pause, because like that's also not in a theater. And I'm just like,
right.
Wait, what is that? Or like, what are they talking about? And then I'll have to like debrief with somebody sometimes. Or I'm just like, ooh, do you think that this is going to happen? But again, it's a little bit more of like plot lines versus like tied up movie story. But I think that I usually watch them very presently.
Yeah, I was going to ask Whitney about the difference between doing what she does for a movie and has she ever been on a TV set? And is that, I feel it's different. I mean, Lauren, I feel it should be the same, but I'm not sure. How's that work, Whitney?
Because you've done things.
Yeah, I've done both. I've worked on plenty of TV shows. I've also done a variety show, which is all sorts of insanity. A variety show is probably the craziest thing I've ever done. I did like an SNL for the summer. It was a variety show called Maya and Marty. So it was Maya Rudolph and Martin Short did a whole summer variety show. And that was the craziest thing I've ever done. I was getting like celebrities at 10 a.m. the morning of filming and just have to, I once made John Cena into Hulk Hogan in an afternoon.
What a day.
So, what a day. So that was crazy. That's its own thing. But TV is very similar to movies. It's basic, but the thing is, it's depends on how you're filming it. So a lot of times TV is filmed in block segments, which means that you're filming multiple episodes at once.
Right.
Whereas the movie, you know, yeah, you sort of film all the things in one location, no matter where they are in the movie, you film in that location. And, you know, so you're filming things all over the place chronologically. But in TV, it can get even more insane where you're shooting sometimes a block schedule, which is just a million episodes at once. And you have sometimes two teams operating at the same time. So it gets really insane, and it's just really a long. The thing about TV too, it's 6 to 9 months, whereas a movie is usually shorter than that. So it's definitely a marathon. And sometimes you don't get the scripts until you don't have all the scripts in the beginning. So you're getting scripts as you're working, and it's really, you have less time. You have less time, and usually not as much money as you need. So it's definitely its own beast. So there's a lot of crossover. It's very similar, but it's got its own issues too. I'm on the movie side. I just have always been a movie person. I'm a lot less of a TV person. Movies are my jam. I like knowing the beginning, middle, and end of a project before I start. I like knowing where the story's going, how I can do costume trajectory, like how I can slot everything in. I like having that information.
Appreciate
So
that.
real quick, Lauren, I have an observation. Whitney expressed to us that she found her passion in college. There's a This is kind of off on a tangent, but there's this big, especially if you're Lauren, you probably went through it. I think we all go through it where there's a big push to go to college, and it seems to be more of a sometimes a classist thing, meaning, you know what I mean, like everybody should go to college and all that. I and Whitney, you probably agree with me, but I definitely agree that not everybody should go to college.
Yeah.
But Whitney's story, in my opinion, is a pro college story. And the reason I say that is because sometimes it takes, one of the main criticisms of college, Lauren, people say is, oh, you got to take a whole bunch of classes that you may never use ever. And there's a little bit of a waste of time and money there if I'm never going to use it. But at the same time, you could be a Whitney where you're exposed to that one class that you would have never been exposed to anywhere else. And then you found, Whitney was in that area. She was in the area. In the area of, theatrical events and dramas and she found out that one part of that wasn't her, Lauren, but she also found her passion that she's still doing today. And then it appears that she's just going to do until the time ends.
Never.
So, yeah, and that's fantastic. But as someone who is middle-aged myself, and it took me many, many years to find my niche and what I felt comfortable with. There's no question here, Whitney, but you can follow up if you want. I'm just making a statement that this is a good angle of college. I know it can be overpriced. I know, and you can do different things to mitigate that. But at the same time, it's really not a yes or a no answer. And it's really a more of, it's really tough actually, because sometimes you can go to college, waste a whole bunch of money and not really get out of it, which you can get out of it. But then also you could be Whitney, who I wouldn't say got lucky, but I would say
I got lucky.
Okay. I'll say you can say that because it's your story, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But from the limited thing that I know, I can't say you got lucky or not, but I can say that you put yourself in a position at some point to find what you needed career wise, and maybe sometimes that's what college is. So sometimes you almost have to reluctantly maybe step into college and say, hey, you know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure. And then you get that one class and then you're like, boom, it's over.
That was it. I knew in 3 weeks. I took that intro to theater design and that was that. And I went to college at UC San Diego, which is famously a science school. But also what I didn't know until I was there is that it's the top 3 theater program in the country. So I was for the grad program, but I was able to weasel my way into a bunch of graduate classes, and there was a professional theater on campus. So I worked there the whole time I went to college. So that's how I got lucky, is that I fell into a school. I went to a school thinking I was going to go pre-med that had an amazing theater department and had all these professional opportunities. And I was able to get into the graduate program, sort of, Not officially, but I just started taking classes and they didn't stop me. So, I was lucky in that sense, but also in the film industry, I really don't think you need to go to college. I think it's something that if you want to work on set, you just start working on sets and you start as a PA and you start working way up. The thing that has helped me from my college degree is being the psychologist, being the historian, knowing how to think about how design intersects with socio economic classes and the history of everything. So I take all of the things that I learned in my English and history and theatrical classes, I bring that with me every day. And all the classes I took in the grad program with how to dye clothing, how to think about fabrics, how to think about costume design in general. So I carry that with me every day. That training was such a foundational thing for me, but also that's just one way of doing it. I know that so many people in the film industry never went to college, and you don't need to. So it really is sort of what you want to do. If you want to start working in film immediately, go start working in film. But I'm so much a believer that you don't have to go to college if you don't want to, if it's not the right path for you. Some people, like, that's not how they learn or not how they like to spend their time. And so it's not a good fit. So it's like you go to college if you need to for whatever career. But for me, it was helpful because I found my career in college.
That's great. And I have a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old, and we are at that stage of just having these conversations at this point. And that's why I found that fascinating. And I wanted to make a note of it because I'm currently at the you don't have to go to college stage of this whole thing. And they pretty much understand that, but there is an angle, and there are many angles that college can be beneficial for. So, awesome. And I wanted to make sure, or I'm sorry, Whitney.
Oh, no, I just, I'm really happy that I went to college and it was like the perfect thing for me, but it's not the perfect thing for everybody, but everything in my career has led from me going to college. So I'm grateful for that.
And you got a 10 out of 10 on our rating system. That should be, you should
career.
That's the peak career, right? Like it's only downhill from here, Whitney.
I know.
So
that's resume shit.
Right. We're here for support if you need it, as you ease back to reality here.
Yeah.
But our friend JHG has another question for you. What is the gender dynamic between costume and production design, or is there one?
Yeah, there is. I have in my handy. So I helped create this newsletter that came out for our guild this year, and the gender gaps in film production are right here. See if I can do so in production designers are 81.7% male and 18.3% female, and costume designers our guild membership is 89% women, 11% men, and 0.2% non-binary. So that's a huge difference. Just seeing the colors there, it's quite a big gap. And so culturally, again, so much of costume design is seen as not as important as production design. It is looked at as women's work. It's looked at as, oh, they're just gonna, play with the clothes, play dress up. And it's always dismissed. And costumes are hard and they take so much time to build, procure, get. Everything is just difficult. It's a lot of physical labor. It's a lot of problem solving, a lot of sourcing. And we very much equate ourselves to production design because it's still a design that's seen on camera. It just happens to be on actors' bodies. But you also add the layer of working with actors and dealing with different body types, dealing with how long it takes to get things. And so, I feel very much also this all stems from back in the day when Hollywood first started. The art director was in charge of the whole production. So they were in charge of hair and makeup, costume designers, everything. So they oversaw all the other department heads. But that's not our system anymore. It hasn't been for decades upon decades. And so we're still trying to change the way that Hollywood sees us. They still see us as underneath the umbrella of production design. And yes, there's something to be said about a production designer creating the world, but we're creating that world too. We're creating it together. It's no longer we're under their umbrella. We are coworkers. We are teammates. We are co-collaborators. So we're trying to change how we're being viewed.
Do you feel that y'all are getting more recognition? Because I kind of do. or I mean, maybe not recognition, but
Yeah.
I am more aware of y'all now, and it is because of those dumb award shows that everybody says they hate, Whitney, but they're all watching.
Yeah.
So like, oh, I hate these award shows, but a year, why did Game of Thrones get snubbed? But I thought you didn't watch them.
Yeah.
Right. But during those shows, they're starting to show, you know, not only beyond best actor and best animation and all that, they're actually showing best costume and best theatrical production. Are you feeling that too, or no?
Yeah, we're definitely gaining more momentum, and we're all getting more online. We're all on Instagram and Twitter, and we're just trying to show support for that. Hey, we are artists and we are doing, just fighting for credits. For example, right now in the contract, costume designers on TV are not given a title card. They're in the back of the credits. And so you have like editors and everyone up front. Costume designers are still in the back. It's something that we have to fight for on every job. And most of the time we don't get a title card. Luckily in film, that's part of my contract, and my agent negotiates, make sure I get my title card. And it's just basic respect stuff. But so every time we stand up when we get a job and we're like, no, I'm not going to accept this job unless I get XYZ. And so there's a lot more eyes on us, which is helpful I feel like things are starting to change. So it's like baby steps. But yes, definitely, it feels like the culture is more aware of what we do and how important we are to a production.
Then you have fabulous things like Doug told me about it and I never saw it, but Dune, as far as the costumes and the set.
Incredible.
Yeah. It's on my list. I got to get to it. I guess I won't be able to get to the.
Greg, it's a long movie, but it's so fucking well done.
It's so good. I saw it in IMAX and it was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't get the IMAX because I'm hunkered down in my fucking house because of fucking heart issues. So I'm like, kind of like, I just need to watch it on my TV.
But hey, anytime, watching it at all, it's great.
So Whitney, as a self-described movie junkie, how many times, let's go pre-pandemic, how many times a month are you at the movies? When
I'm not on a job, probably 7 or 8 times a week. But when I am, or like every 2 weeks, like I go to the movies all the time when I'm not
I have to chime in real quick. Does one time count as one movie? Because I know that you've seen double features.
I know. I would say, let me put it this way, probably when I'm not working, I go to see 10 to 12 movies a month, probably around there.
Okay. 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be more
like
movies
that.
than I watch in a year.
Right.
But
that doesn't mean I don't like movies.
But when you're working, you don't have any time. So then, do you just watch? You just watch like TV shows on your tablet?
No, I have no time. Like,
so it's sleep and work.
Thing. It's sleep and work. That is it. That's all I have time for. I'm often
12,
working
15-hour days. 12, 15-hour days. Oh
6
wow.
to 7 days a week. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then that goes for a movie. I mean, does that go months or does that go weeks?
Months. So my last movie in New Orleans, I was there for 7 months. It was a 7-month long movie. It's a big movie, so it was a long time. But usually a movie is like 3 to 4 months ish.
When you say big movie, you mean like 3 hours?
Big movie, and like we had a lot of stunts, we had a lot of scenes, and so this movie is coming out on Netflix in November. I think it hasn't been announced yet, but I think it's coming out in November. But it's a
post-production, Lauren. Post-production.
Yeah.
So
post-production, nobody sees except does.
A lot of stunts, a lot of action. Also, New Orleans filming there is really difficult because there's a lot of weather. It rains and lightnings every day, and so you have to shut down for lightning every time.
Sticky and.
Did you film there was it summertime when you were there?
Yeah, we actually had to escape Hurricane Ida last year, so we were down for a few weeks.
Oh my God.
As the city, I had to escape the hurricane, so I drove to Texas to get away from the hurricane. And then I flew home to New York and then the hurricane followed me there, and then I got stuck in the hurricane in New York.
You're just so popular. It wants to hang out with
So
you.
popular.
So, real quick, Whitney, just to sum it up. So then you go many months that you're working, and then like, do you? I guess your schedule is dictated by your jobs, but
Yeah.
do you take a day? Like, what is it? A normal, like a month off, or do you get a couple weeks, or it all depends on?
It all depends on what lines up when. So last year, I did Paranormal Activity Next of Kin in Buffalo.
Great show, by the way.
You're not far from me. You're not far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm like 3 hours from Buffalo. So.
And
we were filming
you're also paranormal, Doug.
We were filming in Angelica, New York, in Amish country. So we were just south of Buffalo, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so I was there
you're still
until
like 2 hours.
Yeah, we were there till May, and then I got home to New York for a week and a half, and I already was starting my next job, and then I went to New Orleans. So I worked straight from February to November last year with no break. So I had no time to myself for that whole time.
but also that was coming off the pandemic where you probably didn't work at all, right?
I actually made a movie during the pandemic. It got shut down halfway through. So I was in Atlanta from January to we shut down in March of 2020.
Okay.
I got stuck in Atlanta because I couldn't go back to New York because New York was a nightmare, and I'm immunocompromised. I have all these organs missing. So I was not about to go back to New York. So I got stuck in Atlanta till summer of 2020. I went back home for 3 months, made it back to my apartment, then went back down to Atlanta September 2020 and finished this movie. So I still was able to work, which was pretty amazing. And we were one of the first productions to start up. We were the first Viacom MTV production to start up. So that was pretty insane, trying to figure out how to keep the clothes clean. We didn't know anything at that point. So we were washing everything every day. And I couldn't even go on the costume truck. I had to like stand outside and like I had to Zoom fit people. It was crazy. So
I was gonna say, where did you shop? Everything was closed.
We there were some stores open. We did a lot of online shopping. We luckily had bought almost everything. We only had 3 characters to fit, but 2 of them were like 80-year-old Oscar winners, and I was like, I'm not gonna kill Ellen Burstyn. I can't do it. So we were very safe. I had it was touch and go there for a minute. So trying to do a fitting, with Ellen Burstyn, and it was wild.
In a safe way with the thing that we don't
know
what's
safe way
happening.
in the pandemic, and I was like, this
feels
icon. I have to be safe. Yeah.
The stress.
Wow.
But I was lucky enough to work most of the pandemic. So, but then I finished this last movie in November, and then I moved from New York to Virginia. So that was all like new. And once I actually got here, then I finally slept and rested after last year.
I finally slept.
Yeah.
She says that like it's a joke, but also I was like,
it's not a joke.
That's real.
All right. So
my sleep debt was like insane.
I'm going to say all right. So I'm an older guy. I have some health issues, but I'm going to say the idea that if I have to stay up past like 11, I am a fucking wreck for like 3 days. So the idea that you'd work these fucking 12, 18-hour days for fucking months is just, I remember those sort of days, like not working. What I would do is I'd work my ass off, and then I would go and party for like 5 or 6 hours, and then I'd wake up after hours of sleep.
Do it again.
But I can't do that. I can't do that shit anymore. So like, hey, I just don't know how you pulled it off, but kudos to you, because that's not something I could do.
Well, and it's something that I'm actively trying to change too. I mean, this last one I was a lot more healthy, even though I was working crazy hours. I still made sure to give myself time, and going forward too, as I get older, I'm feeling my body change. And like, yeah, I'm not old, but like I'm definitely older than I was. And so I'm feeling I need more sleep. I need more rest. and just taking what I need and making sure that I want to be doing this career for decades more. So the way to do that is to treat myself well and make sure that I take care of myself and get enough sleep. And so I'm going to put on better boundaries than maybe I have in the past, and making sure going forward, like my 2 movies last year, like I worked on my boundaries and I worked on trying to treat myself well. So it's something that I'm actively trying to help and also make sure my staff gets the same respect too.
And Doug, you have to age like fine wine, like Steph Curry did and does. Right, Whitney, as a Golden State Warrior fan, Doug. I don't know if you knew that, but we have to talk about that.
Wait. You think I don't know anything about fucking Steph Curry, like the best shooter that's ever walked the fucking planet?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying you just have to age like fine wine like him. And that's all you got to do. And that's it.
Dude, Lauren and I grew up going to Warriors games. So we were Warriors fans when they were terrible. So we've been fans our whole life.
Yes. But you also probably were there when you had the Baron Davis fucking thing going on, which was awesome to watch, where they fucking beat up on the Mavericks. Hey, I know a shit ton about basketball. I could go for fucking hours on that stuff. So,
yeah, Lauren and I, we bonded first over basketball, and it's still like, one of my main love. I'm a big sports fan, so I watch a lot of baseball and a lot of basketball.
Oh yeah, so. I would say that you're a heavier Giants baseball fan than Warriors, maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love my Warriors, but I'm baseball first.
So do you? But it doesn't sound like you can get out to. Do you ever get out to the ballpark or any of it at all? Come on, Whitney, you got to give yourself.
I watch all my games. So I have my iPad set up with the game.
This is
so
true.
I have
my
MLB.
Okay. Whitney, you're sounding like a. I hate to tell you, you're sounding like a classic workaholic here, and
believe me, I sure am. Lauren knows. Yeah. I sure am a workaholic. It's something, again, I'm actively working. I had to build my career to get to this point. I'm finally at a point where I'm getting the type of movies I want to be doing. I'm getting a good rate. I'm finally in a place where I can support myself. Also, like being a single woman for the last 12 years, I've had to take care of everything myself. And so it's just like, it takes longer to just be one person trying to save money and do this. And, it's a lot. And so I'm going to try now to take more time for myself, take breaks, take vacation, self-care, all that fun stuff.
Workaholic can be, I say it as a good thing. Of course, but as you say, there could be negative effects to it, right, Lauren? And you know how the whole work and play thing goes, Lauren. So I'm not even I'm not even gonna go here. I need to tread lightly. But no, it seems like Whitney, you've put in a whole lot of work to get to where you're at. But I've always, Lauren, this is why Lauren and I are like brother and sister from another mother. And Doug and I agree too, where sometimes we're just so busy working that a lot of life passes us, and we have to at least take a little bit and smell the roses and kick back with a drink and look at all those wonderful books you got and just relax for a little bit, right? And just appreciate what you've accomplished. I think our society does not teach us how to do this. And we have to go out of our way to do it.
God, it's taken so long to try to learn how to do it. And that's what I did this year for the first time in my whole life. I've been off since November of last year. So I've had a lot of time to rest. I did a brief movie in New York this summer, but I've basically been off for 8 months. So I've been sitting at my house and going for walks and I love movies. Sunset walks, watching so many movies. So there is a baseball team here, a minor league team, the Flying Squirrels, which is the farm team of the San Francisco Giants. So I love that the San Francisco Giants farm team is over here in Richmond, Virginia. So that's something that's super awesome that I learned when I moved here. So.
I would also like to specify that not only did they have the Flying Squirrels, the Richmond University team, their nickname is the Spiders.
Yes.
So how about some great names for the Richmond area, man? Wow.
I love it. It's so awesome.
Right. Yeah. So Whitney, real quick, I got one last question, and Doug has another beer, and then he wants to take us off on a tangent. That may take us another hour or so because we love this issue that tangents. Doug's about to bring up.
Tangents.
And we love what Doug's about to bring up. But Whitney, as a movie lover, you do watch movies at home though, right?
Oh, all the time. Okay. Especially in the pandemic. I can get over my secondhand embarrassment. I force myself. I throw the remote across the room and I'm like, you can't touch it, and then I watch.
Okay.
Also, I 100% believe that is not hyperbole. That is actually true and what she does.
What streaming service is the best for movies in your opinion?
I was gonna ask that too. I was
Ooh.
like, what's I mean, best in
So I belong
what?
to all
Best-
of them. Best is a very specific.
I'm talking about best for like movies
Like
specifically,
has
not
the most?
has the best
Or, like,
movie.
good-
Listen, if I can only get one and I have to shut 6 of them off because that's what it
Yeah.
would take in my house because I have like 12 of them. It feels like.
Yep.
What
If
is
you could only have
what is
one.
the one, Whitney? What is the one? The
Before the
one.
last couple of weeks, I would have said HBO Max, but they've been doing a lot of
They're purging.
interesting things the last couple of weeks. But I would actually say Hulu of all ones. Hulu has an amazing film situation going on. They've been like slowly steadying, getting better. I mean, Netflix has a lot, but I feel too overwhelmed by Netflix. I mean, hey, I love them. I'm working for them. My movie's about to come out on Netflix, so like, yay,
Right.
Netflix. But
Gotcha.
in terms of movies, I feel like Hulu has a great theater to, there's so many great stuff dropping. I mean, I don't know if you saw Prey, the Predator movie that just dropped
It's on my list to watch.
I've seen it 3 times now. It's so great. I love it.
She loves it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love movies.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yes.
Wow.
Hulu is really impressing me of late, and one of my movies is on Hulu, so I'm a fan.
I
Lauren,
feel like I need to.
I was gonna say, go figure. That's the one I don't have. But anyway,
I was gonna say, I feel like I have to like non-informationally agree because I feel like so many things recently that people are like, oh, you gotta watch this, or like, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So many of those things have been on Hulu, and I'm like, I don't have that one. So I feel like that's been happening a lot lately. That I might have to agree, even though I have zero experience with it.
I have all of the streaming services, so I'm maybe not one to ask because I literally have all of them. And
I mean, you might be the person to ask because
I know. I guess I'm like, what do I
Right.
spend the most time on? I guess I spend the most time on HBO Max is what I spend the most time on, and then second Hulu, and then third Netflix. I'd say.
I'm scared about where HBO Max is going, Whitney. I
Me
agree.
too, and it'll be interesting to see how things play out. But yes. Prey is that good. I loved it. It's phenomenal. I recently watched it in the Comanche dubbed version, which is also incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and the first movie to do that, by the way, I think. Right?
Yes, which is so amazing and wonderful. And it's so great to see native voices. The entire cast is incredible. It's action packed. It's stunning. The cinematography is stunning. The costumes are amazing. Like, highly recommend. It was awesome.
I don't know about y'all either, but I will also say, like, Whitney, in regards to theater, movie, TV things, never steered me wrong. Given I know her a little bit, and she knows that I feel so bad because so much of what she does is like horror.
I do a lot of that. Yeah.
Can't do that.
We'll be going into that.
We'll get there. But like, I don't do horror well, which I feel like has been covered on this stream sometimes. So I'm like, I love you and support you. I will not see that movie, but I will see these other movies. So like, I do what I can. I love you and no thank you. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes, but yes, I can't. Well,
that's
I get that. I get that.
But when you're awake,
when you're awake, I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm a person who loves movies. I love watching movies. I especially love action, films. I'm a huge Alien and Predator fan, so I loved it.
Trust, basically what I was saying. Trust. Yeah. Trust. She knows me and I know her, but also like I trust her judgment on like, oh, so worth seeing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna see it. Definitely. I don't know anything about this movie, but I'm gonna go see it. Okay.
Doug?
All right. So first of all, I want to go into a beer but I want to have Lauren open something. So let's go Lauren's beer, and then I have a beer, and then I'm gonna go into horror. So we're gonna
beer question. It's like Duck, Duck, Goose, but more fun. Okay, so I have a new one. This one is called Business, and it's got dollar signs on it. And it's a small can, but it is a Imperial Stout brewed with molasses and muscovado, which I believe is like brown sugar.
Yes, it is.
And it's a 13% in a tiny can, thank goodness.
Well, goddamn, Lauren, that is exactly your style. Everybody knows you're the high ABV queen here.
Which is not like, I'm not trying to be that person. It's just what I like.
What's funny is that's kind of where you jumped into the deep end of the pool, and you like all the lower stuff, but it's like you kind of went like, I'm just going to jump in. So.
I mean, because they're so tasty.
Yeah. So how is that one? Because it has molasses and sugar, which makes it things can be very sweet imperial stout.
Maybe we will see. Let's see. I have not sipped it yet. It looks beautiful.
Lovely,
dark.
Yeah, I love the color.
So the color, and especially the nice brown head on it, which makes me seem with the molasses is where you're getting that from.
Yeah, I'm into. Okay, so like I feel like it is a little bit more like, okay, so Muscovado is like the brown sugar, right? And it's like a little bit more of the brown sugar molasses vibe. So it's like more caramelizey versus just like sugar. But I'm into the business. And I was like, it's just like a fun thing. It's got like dollar signs and it's like golden. It's like very graphic. It's not like the most artistic, but I was like, I kind of love this can.
Yeah, it reminds me of President Business from the Lego movie, but okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it does have that vibe. It is by I don't know is the brewery Stillwater. I think it's from Stillwater by Stratford, Connecticut. So it's actually over
Stillwater is a really good brewery. I get some of their stuff. I've never seen that one, but now I want it.
The business.
Yeah.
I'm into it. It's like it's got, I would say it's a little bit more, it's not bitter, but it's more bitter than like sugar version of like the caramelized thing. So it's not just like sugar. Because that's kind of what I would think when I read it, but it's very drinkable, but not dessert.
Awesome. Because sometimes it gets a little bit sweet where like if you're going in expecting like a dessert beer or a pastry stout or something, you go, okay, well, that's just going to be super fucking sweet.
Right.
But I was just wondering if with the molasses and the sugar, if it was going to be overly so, but it sounds like they kind of balance.
I don't think so. I mean, also second sip, as it's like warming and like doing its thing.
The warming is good.
It's helpful. I feel like it's, again, like I would say like it's a little bit sweeter than the first sip, but it's not like sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Like
well, it would be interesting to see how that warms up, because you know how that kind of changes the flavor profile as it warms up a bit. So
we shall see. I will report back later.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with a beer here, but first of all, this was from Barrel and Flow. This is Crackham, which is they're a sponsor of it. So I grabbed one other thing. Nice. But what I'm going to grab was part of the collaboration with Crowns and Hops, but this isn't their collaboration. It's from Allagash. It's called Barrel and Bean. This is a stout. Well, no, actually, it is a golden ale, a Belgian golden ale, and it has it says blended with cold brew coffee, bourbon barrel aged on top of it.
That sounds amazing.
So this is good. This is gonna be a lot of flavors. I don't know. I am a huge fan of Belgian beers. They're one of my favorite styles because they go all over the place. Golden ales are great because they drink really smooth, but they're super high ABV. And I'm gonna tell you when I pour this, probably gonna fucking doesn't matter how you pour it. It's gonna do super high because golden ales. This is how they work. So
is that a more distributed beverage? Because I feel like I've heard of that, or maybe it was a different version. But I also am never sure what I get versus what you get because we're in different parts of the country.
Yeah,
I love an Allagash. Anytime I get an Allagash, I am happy.
I haven't had something I don't like. Yeah,
and their white Allagash white, which is the wit beer, is probably one of the better mass-produced wit beers you can get. It's really fucking good.
I usually get that when I see it on a menu. I was like, Allagash white, got it.
and you know what you're going to get, right? You're going to get a really good, solid beer. It's going to be good every time you get it. And their Curio, which I think is a bourbon barrel aged Belgian triple, which is really fucking excellent. That was something that was mashed with Crowns and Hops. That was their Curate beer. But so this you look at that color. It's
beautiful.
Pretty.
Yeah. And so Delirium Tremens is also a Belgian style. Delirium Noel. I just love all right. For some reason, we're getting the bad thing, but look, just love the little elephants.
Every time.
Nice.
So this is Delirium makes a bunch of Delirium Tremens, Delirium Noel. But anyway, so this I've had before. It's really fucking smooth. It's delicious. The cold brew coffee, which I don't drink cold brew coffee. I drink hot coffee. I am one of those snobs.
Me too. Me too.
So it could be a hot day and you'll drink hot coffee, right?
Oh, every time. Every time. Yeah, I'm a hot coffee only person.
So
Never iced?
No, I don't like ice.
Okay.
So no, it doesn't matter. It could be 150 degrees. I'm gonna have a hot
Give
coffee.
me a hot. I just went. I was at the grocery store and I got a hot coffee at the grocery store at like 100-degree heat.
So this here is you don't get a lot of coffee notes. The coffee notes are very muted, but like the Belgian ale, the golden ale is super pronounced, which is almost a bit sweet, but it kind of helps balance out the cold brew coffee, which cold brew coffee can be pretty aggressive in flavor, but you don't get it even in the color. It's just really good, really well balanced. So super good. 9.6%. So tread lightly on that. So I'm going to go a bit into horror because, and I pronounce it. My kids make fun of me because I say horror.
One second. Horror.
Horror. That's how I say it, and it sounds really dumb.
Wait. 1 second, Doug. I just want to show mine real quick.
Oh, I have that one. I didn't bring it, and my glass I gave you. Yes.
Oh, nice.
What is this? Panama Crunk Juice.
Oh, that's a great label too.
I like this pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple and mango, and it's a real nice juicy one. I believe it's an IPA. It has a bunch of different hops in it.
Yep.
It's from our friends at Crafted Culture, Doug. You already know.
Yep.
This is very, very well done. I was able to get a sip before Whitney, I have one of those little production boxes that
I love it. It's awesome.
It throws us off when he grabs it. It's very confusing.
Right. But it's a 10 out of...
It's a very SpongeBob label, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's amazing. Look at it. Look at that.
Cool.
Right. And thanks for the glass, Doug.
Where are my glasses? I don't have any. Y'all
you gotta meet. Don't ask Doug for beer when you meet up with him, because you'll get.
Oh, I gave Craig a giant cooler of beer, and he was like, "I can't pack this on my car. You're gonna pack all this car, motherfucker, because I'm not."
It was literally. It was 2 cases of beer. No joke. No joke, man.
I gave him probably 30
2 cases of beer. Right, 2 cases of beer. Period. That's it.
It was stuff I've had and I had in my fridge, and either I'm all right, I had that, I'm not going to have anymore, or stuff here. He wanted me to bring him stuff from Maine, and he wanted to bring me.
That you've been hanging on to.
So I was like, I bought it for him. So then he's like, get me some from Mountains Walking, which is out of Montana, which for some reason I can get, you can't get. You're in Wisconsin, and I'm in fucking New York.
Yeah, you got a little bit. Yeah, beer distribution.
And I brought liquor for both you and your partner.
Right. And Whitney, it was so bad I had to tell the family the next time they got to bring less clothes. That's it.
We need space for the beer and the alcohol.
Right, that's it. Right. There's no compromise here. I need the beer is needed. Y'all can wear funky underwear for a day or two. It's fine. Right.
Can we find a laundromat?
Right.
There are other options, right?
Hand washing
there are things that we can work through, right? Doug's gonna bring the 2 cases and we're gonna deal. But we're also gonna deal with Doug's question to Whitney right now.
Horror. I don't know the different ways you say it.
Right,
and I'm gonna go grab my beer.
So I have a tendency to say horror, and my kids make fun of me for it because I don't know why I can't say it like most folks say it.
What?
Horror. I have a speech impediment for that word.
Horror.
Everybody has a word that they say weird to everybody.
Oh, I know mine. I learned in
college.
I didn't know until college what I said weird.
Yeah. So my ex-wife can't say the word burglary. She's a burglary. But everybody has a word, and horror is mine, which is weird because I write horror. I watch horror.
It's your thing.
It's my thing, and I still can't pronounce it properly. So my question, I have several because I'm a fucking horror junkie. But
me too.
So
I'm here for the ride.
So I'm going to start with Happy Death Day to You, because I want to start there, because how was it? Because that's Blumhouse, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yep.
How does it work for that group? Because I actually heard an interview with a guy who runs Blumhouse and just how they structure movies and how they do that. How they do a lot of straight to video stuff, but they do that purposefully because they want to do this, that, and the other thing. How is that working? And how do you costume design for that?
Well, their production model actually makes a lot of sense, where they're like,
yeah, it does.
They just hand a certain amount of money to a director and they're like, go do your thing. The thing is, they don't have a lot of oversight, which is actually really great in my area. So with Happy Death Day to You, they're like, here's your budget to the director. And like the director, Chris, and I, we've now done 4 movies together. He's like my favorite person in the whole world. I love him so much. They're like, this is your budget, do your movie. And so I had no studio oversight. They were like, just do your own thing. So if Chris was happy, if my director was happy, everything was good. And so it's so much easier to work that way because I don't have all the cooks in the kitchen trying to give opinions on costumes. So usually what happens in a studio movie is that, yes, you show everything to the director, but you also have to show everything to the studio and get the studio to sign off on everything. So that there's just so many more steps that you have to go through. But with Blumhouse, they're like, here's your budget, that's it, go make a movie. And if it does great, it does great. If it doesn't do great, it doesn't do great. And so that's their model, and it's really worked for them. And so there's pluses and minuses to that system, but overall it has worked for us. You know, Happy Death Day to You was Blumhouse, Freaky was Blumhouse, and Paranormal Activity Next of Kin was Blumhouse.
Freaky was Blumhouse too. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yep. So it's like, here's your money, go do your thing. And so it was great to the only person who had to agree with me on everything was our director. And, you know, him and I have the same sense of style, the same aesthetic, the same everything. He truly is my favorite person who I will work with for the rest of my life.
That's great. And so when again, I have a zillion questions. My brain's trying to come up with the right one. So there's so many things I want to
formulate a sentence.
Because I don't get a lot. Like, we had one other guy who does a horror podcast, and we just talked horror movies for 2 hours, and it was awesome.
I could talk for a million hours about horror.
So what about horror movies draws you to them? What makes you enjoy them? I mean, I have certain aspects.
This is a great question that I would love answered.
Because here's the thing, there's a lot of different genres of horror, depending. Do you want Saw, which is fucking gross, fucking gore? Do you want shit like you want shit like Seven, where it's kind of really
one of my favorite movies. Yeah,
which is a fucking superb fucking horror movie. I remember my 15-year-old is a real big horror junkie with me, and he watched it and he goes, that was an excellent movie. He goes, it wasn't scary. I'm like, no, it's not meant to be scary. No, it's meant to make you think about your journey as the guy going, what's in the box?
What's in the box, man? Yeah.
One of the greatest lines in Hollywood. But the idea of like, how would you react? And that's the thing, is like, that's psychological shit I fucking love. Yeah. So love what draws you into that? What is the genre that you really speaks to you for watching, not for working on? There's a difference, right?
No, there's a huge difference. I will say how I got into horror was, for some reason in middle school, the only books I would read were like Fear Street and all the teenage slasher novels. So when we had like our, you had to read a certain amount of books in middle school, and I just filled the sheet full of every teenage slasher novel that ever existed. And so it worried my teachers so much that they called a parent-teacher conference with my parents. And my parents are like, but she's reading. What's the problem? She's reading, right? It's not an issue. So kudos to my parents for being like, she's reading, right?
Kudos to your parents. Kudos to your parents.
So I've just been interested in horror from the get-go, and I don't know what it is about it that I think it's what people do in these crazy situations. And for one, I'll talk later about how much I love working on horror movies, because working on horror is like the best thing. But in terms of watching, there's something about getting scared that I love so much more than, say, cringe comedy. Like I was mentioning earlier, how much I hate secondhand embarrassment and how much it hurts, like physically hurts me.
Meet the Fockers. Meet the Fockers.
I can't watch that stuff. I can't do it. But whereas horror movies, give me all the gore. I'm fascinated by the
You two are
makeup
the
design.
same people. You're the same person
Yeah.
for movies.
There's a weird thing watching something like Meet the Fockers where you can just relate to the fucking utter embarrassment of the main character. You're like, fuck, I'd want to just walk the fuck away from it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Whereas horror movies, I'm like, yeah, give me the kills, give me the gore, give me the everything. I want to see. Again, I love the makeup design. I love the eerie environment. I love the music design. I love just going to these dark places. I mean, one of my favorite YouTube channels is Dead Meat that does all these kill counts, and so I watch those religiously. And you know, I don't know if anyone's heard of those, but
look at Lauren's face.
I was like, that's a thing.
Yeah, they.
This is a realm I'm not familiar with.
He counts down all the kills in all the movies. I remember I was watching. He did one on Happy Death Day to You, and we had met at my premiere. And he mentioned me in his video, and I like literally stood up off my chair. I was like, I got a shout out in the video.
I mean, okay.
It was a great moment.
Kill, especially for that movie. I was like that. I mean, there are many.
There's
right?
a lot of kills. No, James and Chelsea are great. They're awesome. But there's something about, I can't even describe how much horror is just such a huge part of my life and has been forever. I think it also sort of started with, this is not a horror movie, but I think the first horror thing I thought about was Terminator 2. My dad really early on in my life showed me the like part of Terminator 2 and the metal and all that. And like, there was something about that just fascinated me. And I just love the design of it, especially because it's high style, it's high design, it's high stakes. I think there's just so much excitement in that. And that's what I love about horror, is that you can really push a world. You can really go somewhere that's so different from our own reality. And that's what's really fun to see.
What about Fangoria magazine?
Oh, proud subscriber, and actually know the owner.
I'm giving you a virtual. Yeah, I'm giving you a high five because that was as a kid. So, like I said, I'm 50. So, like my youth was like, I'm subscribing to that magazine and watching how they're doing the special effects and all that. And I'm like, it's fucking fascinating. And my mom was like, why are you getting this? And I'm like, because I'm watching how they make this stuff. And she's like,
the coolest thing ever. Just seeing the behind the scenes.
And you think about like the special effects in the 80s, they were fucking terrible. But like by today's.
But then you have the Thing. And then you have like the special effects in the Thing were groundbreaking, and getting to see how they created all of that and how it still stands up today. It's still better than any CGI. Practical effects. I will die on this hill. Practical effects are always better than CGI effects. Always, for the rest of time, will always be better.
I mean,
and then
Terminator 2 is like that. You watch that, and even the special effects now you watch the first Terminator and you're like, that shit sucks. But you watch the second Terminator and like, that shit is amazing to watch now.
Even the mirror shot, that's not even like gory shot, but the mirror shot is one of like groundbreaking filmmaking. And so getting to just see how they've changed like the whole filmmaking genre and really be creative to come up with all these things. But it's the best.
it's interesting because you look at something that's groundbreaking like that. So there's a handful of groundbreaking movies that are in that now. You have that, but I think that the idea of you watch something like The Matrix, which was made in 1999, and some of that technology and the way they film shit is still used now.
Yeah.
That's 23 years later. And
100%.
you're just like that whole bullet time thing was so fucking revolutionary then. And now you watch it now and like, oh yeah, but that's still being used. That
movie's still fire. Every time I watch that movie, I'm like, this is the best. I remember my twin brother and I would rewatch the lobby scene on repeat.
Oh
like,
my God.
Like 1999, 2000, when it first came out on DVD, we're just like constantly rewinding and watching it over. Like, how did they do that? This is the greatest scene I've ever seen in my life.
and I will say, as a guy at that age when that came out, Trinity was like,
oh yeah.
Oh my God!
That leopard, that costume, my goodness!
Yes, and all the costumes were amazing. About you're talking about costume design. That movie is just fucking amazing how they built all of it. And what's great about it is to turn it into something that's a little more current is that was a story about transness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And people didn't realize that was all about transness. Because both the directors are trans. but they
being in a
weren't
body that's not your own, or
and understanding how that works. And they weren't trans when they made it, but when they came out later, they said that movie was all about how we were feeling. And you think about just the way they made that movie and just how it's filmed and just the fucking actors and just like people like Keanu gets a lot of love now, but then he was kind of a fucking joke.
He was, especially after Bram Stoker's Dracula and all these things, like his William Shakespeare turn of being Don John, and he just, he was kind of a joke after Speed. And I mean, I'm always been a Keanu stan. Lauren will attest to this. I had his framed picture in my bedroom. I've always loved my Keanu, so I've always loved him. But that's what I love. I mean, Speed was one of my favorite movies growing up. But yeah, that's why I love that they were. I mean, there's something about the year of 1999. All the movies that came out in that year really changed cinema going forward, and The Matrix was a huge part of that. And it's so great to look back on it now to see what the themes that they were talking about that they couldn't express until now into our world. Fun fact: the costume designer of The Matrix, Kim Barrett, she was the costume designer of Romeo and Juliet, when Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, the Baz Luhrmann version of it. Okay, yeah.
And then, I worked with Baz and Sam on The Great Gatsby and lots of other things. And they, made Moulin Rouge my favorite movie. So there's a lot of nice connections in there.
Yeah. It's funny, just like, so I don't really, again, I'm not I watch movies, but I'm not like, oh, movies. But like when you see something that just kind of changes the way you view things, and completely. Part of it is very much part of it is very much the costume design. If you don't if you go, that is so unique how they built that person, and you built how you look at them, because I mean, you look at something as simple, which doesn't seem like a big deal, is the Quentin Tarantino movie that Samuel L. Jackson kind of
Pulp Fiction. And
you just look at how they built the characters in that, or you look at Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights. And just the way they built the characters through their wardrobe is fucking superb. It's so fucking
it becomes iconic. It's iconic, right? Which I feel like a lot of movie goers don't necessarily think of until after. And then, but like just those black suits.
Like a black suit and black tie, you think, oh, that's ubiquitous, that's everywhere. But when you see John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson pointing their guns in those black suits, like, exactly what that is. It's so classic, so iconic. And even in their black suits, it's the cut. It's every single little detail that led to that moment. So you could say, oh, they're just wearing black suits with white shirts, but it's so much more than that. And so I feel like also this sort of ties into contemporary costumes design often getting not respected the way it should, because people are like, oh, I wear clothes, I know how.
Right, it's just like what I wear.
Just clothes, whatever. And there's so much more that goes into it. Oftentimes, contemporary costume design is so much harder because there are so many cooks in the kitchen or people who thinks that they're an expert on this. But it's about shape and style and color palette and this, that, and the other. So it's nice when people see, oh, this contemporary movie, or not necessarily contemporary, but this like plain black suit is iconic because of the way it's been styled.
All right, so I'm gonna ask another question. All right, so what is one movie, and that's a hard thing, I know. It's like asking your favorite book or your favorite book. So is there a movie that you look at and that is the pinnacle of horror costume design? You go
specifically.
Yeah, you go that shit nailed every bit of what you're trying to do in a horror movie. It could be anything. I'm a simple.
And then I'm gonna say also and why, because I don't know the horror. So tell me why.
It's a very difficult, because there's so many iconic moments from the Scream mask and robe. I mean, the mask is more of a prop than a costume, but like that every killer, you have Michael's jumpsuit, there's so many iconic moments in horror. That's what I love about it too, is that you recognize. But I think one of my most iconic is all the red moments in Don't Look Now.
What?
Oh yeah.
Explain this to someone who has no idea what you're talking. In brief.
So Donald Sutherland, it's in the 70s. Like Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland play a couple whose like child has died and they're mourning and in grief. And Donald Sutherland keeps seeing this figure in this red cape, and he keeps seeing, and it's like he thinks it's his dead child. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but like you find out,
it's from 1973, and you're not doing a spoiler at this point.
I know, but like, he was basically like foreseeing his own death, and like this red cape was, he gets killed by this, little person in this red cape, and sort of that's what it boils down to essentially. But like the story of Red through that movie is so important. Again, using the color to your advantage, especially red on camera. I really don't use red unless I'm trying to really say something. Red
like
is such a
pay attention.
Red is a pay attention color. Red is so specific, and so I only use it if I really am trying to say something about using that color. Like red is very much a intense emotional color, and it also takes over the whole screen. And so red is very much you have to use it in the right moment.
Thoughts? I was like, I don't know how to point here. What about the cell? What about that? I was like, I don't know this.
And that was J-Lo within that movie, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you said red is an important color, I'm not trying to take away from the cell because I want your response to that. But I think that's also what something like The Sixth Sense, when they just basically splash it in little bits, and I never picked up on that. I
may have never picked up on. I mean, like I didn't love the movie, but that's because me.
And what's funny is, so my wife, who is I need to solve it, knew what it was within 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh, she's like, because she's like riddling it. She's like, oh, I see it, and again and again.
Right there, it is.
Not the red. She knew Bruce Willis was dead from the start, from the jump. And I didn't know until later.
I do want to jump to Jonathan talking about The Cell. Okay, The Cell is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I'm obsessed with that movie. It was designed by a costume designer named Aiko Ishioka. She did Bram Stoker's Dracula. She got an Oscar for that, which is one of the most iconic. If I'm going to talk about iconic horror costumes, Bram Stoker's Dracula, again and again and again. That is the number one horror costumes of my whole life. And so Aiko designed The Cell as well with Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, Vincent, and that movie's crazy. It's weird as hell, but it's one of the most visually stunning movies I've ever seen in my whole life. I actually wrote a blog post about it during the pandemic, so Lauren can attest. I wrote like an 80.
Now I need to read that.
It's like 80 pages. It's very long.
It's
very long,
detailed, but you'll love it.
So, I also wrote about Dracula. So I wrote about Dracula. I wrote about The Cell. I worked for Aiko before she died. I'm so lucky that I got to work for her. She was designing the Spider-Man on Broadway at the time, but I was her personal tailor. So I made her skirts. I made her whole entire apartment was white. I made her a TV cover, a white TV cover to go over her TV, so it wouldn't be this like black TV in the middle of her all white house. And she lived overlooking Central Park on like the 78th floor above the Russian tea room. And I remember every time I would go to her apartment, we would like do the work, and then we would sit at her kitchen table, and she would pour a pot of green tea, and we would sit there and talk about Bram Stoker's Dracula or The Cell, or like she'd tell me stories from set. She'd talk about Grace Jones because she designed for Grace Jones for a long time. So, getting to know her and work with her just made me love her work all the more, because I studied her work in college. I studied Dracula in college. I studied this, I watched The Cell all the time. And so her work is just otherworldly. It's the only way to describe it. So I'd say biggest iconic horror costumes, definitely Bram Stoker's Dracula and The Cell as the runner-up for sure. But yeah, I've written pages upon pages about both those movies on my website.
Fascinating.
So I need to find that blog because I want to read.
I think it's on her website, which
it's on.
highlight.
I have a little blog. I need to get back to the blog. So during the pandemic, I started watching every movie that won the best costume design Oscar, and then also talking about related movies too. So my first blog post.
I see it.
My first post was about Hamlet. Yeah. So I did a post on Hamlet and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then I did a this is related to the Oscar-winning movies, but because it was all Aiko, and because she's the costume designer I worked with and I love.
Doug, share the screen so I can share it, please.
All right, hold on. I'll pull that up.
All right.
Right.
Oh yeah, the banana splits for sure. Those costumes are amazing. They're more like props even.
The cell I saw once, so I need to rewatch. I haven't watched it in forever, and I just remember being like, "It's wild, it's bizarre
wild.
and weird and strange." And Lauren, you and I had a conversation about weird movies, so
yes,
share the screen, Doug.
I did.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Oh, hold on.
No, that's sharing the link. I need to share the screen.
I don't know.
Two different things. Just saying.
I worked with the director of this cell. He also did a movie called The Fall that Aiko also directed, starring Lee Pace, and it's also one of my favorite movies in the world. So yeah, this is The Fall there in the bottom right, and then the cell is the top image.
Yeah, the top image is.
So they're both directed by this director named Tarsim. I did a Cadillac commercial with him years ago. It was after Aiko had died, and I came up to him like on set, and I was like, "Hey, I worked for Aiko," and he was like, his eyes just lit up when I started talking about her, and I just loved how much he loved her and loved working with her. So it was pretty special.
So the guy, so the guy in that right here, that's Vince Vaughn.
That's Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio. I forgot he was in it too. Yeah, my bad.
But Vince Vaughn is also in it, who I worked with on Freaky.
Yeah.
Which I actually saw as a sort of horror movie.
I know, because it's like a horror comedy.
I can do the horror comedy. I can do when it's like not just like psychotic thriller, mess with your head. I was like, that's a lot. But
Freaky's fun. Freaky's a lot of fun.
I like a fun
I love
horror.
that movie. That was a really fun one to make.
All right, so let's shift gears a bit here. So let's talk a bit about what are we watching.
The segment that Doug will not let die ever. Go on, Doug.
I love this. So,
he does.
Yeah,
that's all good. It's all good. But y'all gonna talk about the same one, right, Doug?
Yeah. So I'm gonna start since I'm the one that brought it up. So the reason we were talking about Lauren and I talking is she mentioned this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie.
I was aggressive the other week. I'm sorry.
It is one of the 3 best strange movies I've ever seen. And the other 2 in competition are Being John Malkovich, which is a really odd movie.
Yep.
And I mentioned to Lauren a movie called Jacob's Ladder, which was made with Tim Robbins a million years ago. That might be the strangest movie I've ever seen.
That movie is a trip. A trip.
Yeah. So this movie, Greg, I will tell you, please see this movie. It's fucking amazing. Michelle Yeoh's in it, and she's awesome. That I cannot remember. Hot dog fingers. Look. Oh.
That will make sense once you watch the movie, Greg.
I have the hot dog.
It is not a spoiler, but we will say no more until you see the movie.
You must see it. All right. So the other guy is Ki-Hugh Kwan, who was the kid in Googly Eyes. Yes.
Googly Eyes.
Ki-Hugh Kwan was the kid in one of the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, Temple of Doom.
And also Goonies, right?
And Goonies, yes.
Yep.
So, but he's a grown-up guy. But Stephanie Hsu, she's amazing. Goddamn amazing in it. Like that. Everybody acted great in that, but she was amazing in it. And that did have James Hong in there. James Hong's been in 50,000 movies.
I know. He finally got his star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, finally.
Good.
I mean,
good. That guy's been in so many movies and
everything.
Everything. But this movie, it had everything. It was weird, strange, awesome. It made me cry like a motherfucker at the end.
And laugh.
And it was just funny. And it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It didn't feel like it. Like you watch it and all right. So the funny thing is, so I'm watching it and Lauren's like, tell me what you think. And I went, first off, I'm going to ask you a dumb question. I really hope it doesn't come off as abrasive, because I always wonder if I've seen this in Hispanic households where folks like talk in Spanish and English and do like a Spanglish version of stuff where they're kind of mixing the languages. I'm like, I imagine the same. She's like, yes. And I said, I'm sorry if that's when she goes, no, I know you. I know you're just curious and you want to make sure you're not saying something dumb. And I'm like, thank you, because I felt like a jackass as soon as I asked that question. But like the way it just intermingles everything, like the center of it is how do you find joy in your life? Whatever your life is, that's the center of the entire movie. And it goes all over the place, and it's great. It's beautiful. It's super well done. And to Whitney's point, the costume design is fucking on point. Amazing. Everything is right. Everything's right. Everything is right.
It's wild. I've seen it 4 times now. I remember when I first saw it in the theater for the first time. I have never cried laughing so much in my entire life. Just tear. My mask was soaked with my tears, and that's never happened before.
Yeah. So
both happy and sad tears.
Yeah, because you have happy tears, and then you get to the bits where you're like, "Fuck!"
Oh, you feel all the feelings.
I have less crying feelings, but I also had the feelings similarly. It is at least 3 out of 4. Greg, you have not seen this yet, right?
No, please do.
Highly recommend. 3 out of 4 of us. Must see movie. Yeah. So good.
Apple TV.
No, I have Amazon Prime. It might be on Apple TV, but it was like $6 to rent on.
It's on also I feel like it went back into theaters. I don't know about where.
But it is so superbly done. I'm not so I don't know Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, and I don't know who they are, but like they did just a masterful job of putting this together. And here's the thing: it's funny, and it's kind of like, so if you watch some sort of like old kung fu movies that was kind of a bit corny, there's bits of that in there. There's bits of just really serious shit. There's bits of really heavy fucking shit. There's bits of fucking hilariousness. I just
also
don't know.
Genius and sad. All the feelings.
All the feelings. And they wrote an amazing mother-daughter story too.
Yes.
2 dudes wrote this beautiful, like, lovely story about 2 women trying to connect with each other, and the visuals are everything. It really is everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, did JG say it was like, was it everything everywhere all at once? Yes. Yes, it absolutely was. If you haven't seen it, that sounds ridiculous. But if you see it, yes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It's absolutely that.
And I will say that I don't know how you feel about this, but the idea of A24 does some really amazing movies. And they're kind of in the middle ground. They're not doing the fucking Marvel shit. They're not doing all the high level shit. And they're not doing some things that are really super duper, let's cheap get to video. And I don't mean to disparage that. They're kind of in that middle realm. And they do that. They did The Norseman, which I want to see and I haven't seen yet. The Norseman, which I'm really super interested to see that, because it's the same guy who made Midsummer, which completely fucked me up. That movie fucked me up for like 3 or 4 days.
It's actually the same guy who did the Witch. So Ari Aster did Midsommar, and the guy who did the Witch, David Eggers, did The Northman.
Oh, okay, David Eggers. Sorry, I thought it was the same guy.
Different guys.
But all Ari Aster also did Hereditary, correct?
Yeah, that both Hereditary and Midsommar, like, woo, boy. I mean,
They are the
but
kind of
whoa.
thing. They aren't super gross, but man, they will fuck your brain up.
Oh yeah, they're disturbing. They're very mentally disturbing.
And I will say the thing that fucked me up the most about Midsommar is the idea that it all takes place during the day when it's light.
Yes. That's what makes it scarier, I think.
Most horror movies are not that. Almost everything takes place in the dark because dark is scarier. Not that. That movie is almost all takes place in the day.
Bright
day.
And shit can be really terrifying in the day too. And I think that's kind of the part that makes it super scary. So yeah, I'm not going to call Marvel. But anyway, sorry, I'm just kind of riffing. It just that movie, Everywhere All at Once, was just
no pressure, but also see it.
You said that to me, Lauren. I've been wanting to watch it for a while, and I actually had a slow day at work, which doesn't happen much. So I took my laptop and I set it next to me. I'm like, I'm going to watch this, and I texted to Lauren. And I was like, here we go, and she's like, great! I can't wait to see what you think. And I'm like, oh shit, this means I have expectations on me.
I mean, low bar. I was like, I don't know how you're watching this, but I'm very excited that you're watching it.
Yeah. So I got a tip, Whitney, that you wanted to talk about this one.
Yes, I've been watching The Sandman, so I just finished episode 6, so I'm almost through it. So my friend Samson was the main producer of The Sandman. He did Happy Death Day to You with me, and him and his production manager Aaron went off to do The Sandman. So I was watching, them be in Europe for like a year to do The Sandman. So I've been looking forward to it for a long time. Also, I love Neil Gaiman. I think it's phenomenal. I love it so much so far. I think it's beautiful. I think the cast is fantastic. I've really been loving it so much. I think they spent the money on proper CGI. So all of the visual effects are really strong. They're really good, especially with TV series that maybe is not always the best CGI or visual effects, but they really spent the time and the money to make it proper. And Samson and Aaron did an amazing job, and I'm really, so excited to know them, and I'm very happy for the show. So I'm making my way through it. I'm not quite at the end yet, but I love it so far.
Excellent.
I love that show. I'm 3 episodes in, and I've read the books, and I've also listened to there was a podcast that was done on BBC, which honestly, the BBC podcast is like almost verbatim of what they're doing in the show. And the idea that the actors they have in The Sandman, the Raven being Patton Oswalt just fucking slays me. It slays me.
It's so good.
It fucking slays me. And having the Weasley's dad be one of the characters. Oh my god! And then Tywin Lannister from fucking Game of Thrones is like, oh my god!
Jesus, the whole cast is just phenomenal. I think Tom Sturridge is doing an amazing job, and Boyd Holbrook is so scary as the Corinthian, and I'm just a big fan. Go for it.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I see black people, so it looks like a diverse cast.
Yes, that's what's also very exciting. A good diverse cast.
Yep.
Very important. It's like anytime they actually make the effort to do a proper diverse cast, it's always better.
Yeah. That Everything is Everything movie. Where can we find that?
I found that on Amazon Prime for $6.
I think that's it's probably a rental somewhere. It's definitely I've seen like 100 movies this year. I think I'm at like 80 something. But my 2 favorites this year, Everything Everywhere and Maverick, which are 2 opposite movies.
Yeah, very much so.
Seeing them both in the theater were
Maverick
my 2 top favorites.
Maverick is Top Gun.
Yeah.
Maverick is Top Gun. Wow, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have never. Maverick is a surprise for me. I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing. It's rare when you hear nothing but good about something. You know what I'm saying, Whitney? Like, I can't get one person to bitch about that movie, and I haven't been able to find one person to bitch about that movie. So it's really funny.
I haven't been able to find one terrible review.
It's just hard to believe given what it is. Like it's a Top Gun
It
movie.
sounds crazy.
And
You're like, it's a Top
everybody
Gun.
says
How can
that.
it be that good? It is.
Right.
It is a blockbuster. Like seeing in IMAX, because there's barely any visual effects. They did all that shit for real. They filmed everything in those fighters for real. It's kind of the most incredible feat of filmmaking, and it's just really special. It's blockbuster entertainment at its best. And I have had my best experience in movie theaters this year, seeing Everything Everywhere and seeing Maverick. Again, two very opposite movies, but I've never felt such high emotional feelings than both of those movies. So I highly recommend it.
For Maverick too?
I can't even.
Oh yeah, I was like, yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Excited.
Wow.
It made me feel a lot of feelings, and a lot of it is ridiculous, but you go along with it.
But ridiculous is okay. That's the thing is people think, oh, that movie's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. But
no, really, ridiculous is great. Give me a giant blockbuster. Give it to me in my veins. I love
it. Right. Come on, some of the best shows ever are ridiculous. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I did see one promo, Doug, recently. I don't know where or why. Some dragon. Some dragon.
House of Dragon is coming out, and I fucking can't wait.
Hold on, Doug. I didn't get to finish my point. Anyway, I just saw an old school Go promo, and there's a dragon flying around. And I'm like, that's completely ridiculous. But it makes sense. But it makes sense that people love that shit. You know what I'm saying, Whitney? Part of movies is, as you know, Whitney, I don't have to tell you, it's escapism. It's putting yourself in a place where you would never, ever see. I'm never going to see a dragon in my life. So why not watch a show that has it in it? Why is that not ridiculous? Why is that not fun? Why is that not relevant on some level? I mean, it's not relevant to our real lives, but Doug, it's something that it's cool. I'm not talking down on the dragons. I'm just saying it's really, I have to wrap myself around. I still have some work to do before I can get to Lauren Game of Thrones. There's just something about it, but I haven't seen it either, but I know I'm going to. And I know I'm going to at some point. But I'm gonna have to embrace the ridiculousness when Whitney, I'm sorry, of it before I go in. But I think there's suspended disbelief, or suspended belief. I get that one wrong.
Suspension of disbelief.
There we go. Thank you. English is a bitch, and I didn't do really good with it.
English is
just watch a movie. You don't say anything.
Right. You can give me Latin over English, actually, at this point. Latin is, woo. Yeah, Lauren, I'm with you. Latin was a mess. But, I kind of had more fun doing that than English, but we're not even trying to talk about that. Whitney, we should wrap soon, but we should have you back. And let's not even talk respectfully. Let's not even talk costumes when you come back. Let's just talk all movies. Let's just have Whitney on. It's just right. You are our movie expert. Obviously it helps that you work in them, so that's part of the passion. But even if you didn't work in them, you've seen an unhealthy amount of movies.
Oh, 100% unhealthy. Unhealthy. Can I uplift that comment? Unhealthy amount of movies.
Right. So
it's a lot.
I have full respect for that unhealthiness, Lauren. We all have our own healthy. Hey, mine was fried foods 100%. And chicken and beer and stuff, and Whitney's is movies. We all have an vice. We all have an unhealthy vice or something.
I owned 400 DVDs by the time I graduated high school. Lauren, remember all of my of my movies?
That's
cereal. Cereal's my jam.
That is Manny's.
Manny is a cereal junkie.
That is his cereal junkie.
So Whitney, do you like cereal, Whitney?
Oh, I love cereal. I have cereal every day.
But what?
And
but
Whitney,
I don't think it's cereal that other people like. I like the healthy.
Let's hear
cereal.
it. Who?
Crispix is my favorite.
Okay. I thought I heard Honey Nut Cheerios.
No, Crispix and the cashew cinnamon whatever.
Oh, so you like twigs and stuff.
I know. Okay, my mom's a nutritionist, so don't
also
blame
true.
me.
That is true. But
Whitney-
also, back in the
Whitney-
day, Whitney's mom was a nutritionist, and she got Lunchables, and I did not, understand.
I know.
I complained to my mom about it.
Desserts with every meal. My mom is a nutritionist who believes everything in moderation and eat desserts with every meal. So that's why my mom's the coolest.
Whitney, do you use a top sheet?
Oh,
I do use the top sheet, yes.
See, Doug?
All right. Well, Whitney, I think you're a great guest, but you're very wrong about that.
No, she's not. Whitney, you are completely right, and your perception of top sheets is fine. Right.
I love a top sheet.
Doug and his wife are aliens from another planet on this show. And they can go back to Mars.
Top sheets are
right. I love my top sheet.
Well, Greg,
Lauren and I have discussed this before.
Really? Lauren, please embellish, because we need to go before we start reviewing beers.
I mean,
yes.
We like separately. Y'all know. I mean, maybe you don't know. I love fun, weird questions, and y'all dig into the like top sheet, no top sheet, like what's the terrible food things. And so like I have other versions of those questions, and Whitney and I have unpacked several of these.
And top sheet versus exactly.
Yeah,
we talked about this before.
and we gotta have Whitney back because we didn't even get to food shame her. So we don't Whitney, we don't beer shame, or you can drink whatever you want, but we will food shame. We will food shame. Right, we will food shame you, and Doug will top sheet shame you, but that's on him, not me, because he doesn't use an essential piece of bedding. He has to shame people.
Essential is a little aggressive.
It's extremely essential. Don't let him tell you. But
it's only essential in foreign hotels.
Right. Well, yeah. So you don't buy seat sets. Not. He does it, and he throws the top sheet away or something dumb. Like,
no, you know what I use it for? Guess what I use it for? To
wipe your ass.
The house. To paint the house as a drop cloth.
That's like a tarp. You turn your sheet into a tarp.
Yeah. Now, guess what? When Greg comes to our house, I'm going to put 5 fucking top sheets on the bed.
Excellent.
Please do. I really hope you do that.
And I'm going to. Guess what, Greg? You're going to get 50 fucking top sheets.
I love it. Make sure it's there, and then I'll even take pictures and show the world.
And then the thing is, you're going to take all those top sheets into our hot tub that you bitch about that I didn't tell you about. So
yeah, but the hot tub is broken, so I'm not even going to come.
No, it works now.
It's fixed now. Okay.
I said it this morning with my wife. So
you don't take a top sheet in a damn hot tub. Get out of here. Jeez.
Hey, guess what? You bitch about top sheets. I'm going to give you 50 fucking top sheets all over.
As a towel.
The same motherfucker.
Here's your top sheet with your lunch.
No, but what I do is I eat avocados with my breakfast, Doug, and you'll never do that because you're a curmudgeon.
That's not true. Right. I actually eaten avocados recently because it's good for your heart.
What?
Doug does not like avocado, but he says, what did you say it is? Like cement.
It is the mainland version of poi. It is bland, it's pasty, it's not great.
Okay.
It is green and
poi,
pasty.
but also I get it.
Yeah.
I have like 10 avocados in my kitchen right now.
See, Whitney's the bomb. Whitney's the bomb. I already told you, Doug.
Whitney, I'm okay with you having as many avocados you like. I'm just saying it's not my jam. That's all.
No, hey, that's why there's so many choices for everybody. I eat the weird healthy cereals, and then I eat avocados too.
That's true.
We
Manny
win some,
will do
we
the
lose.
opposite. Manny,
right.
you eat the healthy cereals. Manny eats sugar.
Right.
Sugar on top of it.
And then beer. And beer.
I love it. Well, I do have a caveat where I'm missing all these organs and I can't process fat super well, so I'm forced to not eat a ton of fat. So I have to eat healthy in order to like live.
She gets
normally.
y'all a little bit.
Living is good. And
I like living. Living is great.
Hey,
I love
Whitney,
all of you to live.
Living is good.
Whitney, in the post stream, we'll talk a bit about diet because Greg and I have some shit to talk about in that realm. So yeah.
Yeah, it's taken me a long time to get to a place where I don't feel like I'm dying every day. So, fun time.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Living is good.
I'll eat them for you, Whitney.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Manny.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So kind of you.
So Whitney, we should start wrapping up. So Greg, I'm sorry to hijack, but Whitney,
No, that's where I was going.
You had the beer. So can you explain what you had?
Yeah.
So that we can kind of review a bit what you had, and then we'll go to Lauren and
So I had my two of the Dayfall Belgian Whites, which is one of my favorites. It's Stone Brewery, which is literally I can see from my house almost. It's Stone's Throw down the street.
So
I'm very lucky to have such a great brewery so close. So this is my normal beer that I get there when I go. So I go at least once a week. So it's a comfort for me now. It's just like one of the beers that makes me really, really happy. So I think that's the best description of it.
That's great, because if it's something that makes you happy, that's what we want to hear. So,
yeah.
Awesome. So Lauren, you had multiple things, and I'm not even sure we got to the third one. Did we?
We did. Well, yes, we did. We get to the things. I can't rate. They're all so different. I can't rate. I'm sorry. But let's just go in the order that I had them. First, I had sake because, oh my God, sake because it was in the fridge and I had it and it was refreshing and it was great. I prefer cold sake over hot sake, and this one was lovely. I don't know what it's called because all of this is not in English. Oh my God, where is this? Not in English. I don't know what this is. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like this.
I don't know, but it's a great label.
I love it. But again, I was like, what is it? I cannot help you.
It's sake.
180 milligrams. That's all I can read. And then I had this lovely Bees Better Have My Honey wheat ale, which was delicious and very tangerine scented, but not overpowering. And very smooth drink and great for warm days. And then I had my Business by Stillwater, which is much more my typical jam of darker beverages, which had, I forget, molasses and muscovado. And as it warmed, it got like not sweet specifically, but sweeter than like the molasses, it wasn't bitter, but like more bitter than sweet caramel. As it warmed up, it got a little bit sweeter, but again, not like pastry dessert sweet. Also delicious, all super different. Cannot rate. I'm sorry. Yell at me.
You don't have to rate. If you like them all, that's great.
They were great. If I had to choose one to get again, I might choose Bees Better Have My Honey, just because again, the trifecta of label, name, taste, refreshing. Like, that's not trifecta anymore. Now there's 4.
Yeah,
all the good things.
The 4 package. How about that?
The 4-pack. It was solid.
Right.
But they were all really good.
Hey, that's what matters. So I'm going to go next. I'm going to start with the Mexican dark lager, which was Dresden Codex from Human Robot, which was really good. I didn't have a bad beer at all tonight. These were all good. And that's not always the case. Sometimes the beers where they aren't great, and I won't say shit about them because I don't want to disparage a brewery. Sure. The second one was, didn't have a label, but this was Pharaoh's Gold from Crafted Culture out of Ohio. This was really, really fucking good saison. This was super good. I'm glad that he gave me a 4-pack as we were walking out. But the thing is I'm gonna go with heavier beers later because that's sort of my jam. The Pretty Fly for a maple rye was good. Actually, the saison was probably better than this. So this XYZ. But the best thing I have is Barrel Bean, which was the Allagash.
I'm gonna have to get that.
Golden Ale. I can get it for you, Whitney. If you can't, I can send you down that way.
We'll chat.
Yeah.
This is super good. It's a golden ale aged in bourbon barrels with cold brew coffee. So if you like coffee, the coffee is not very pronounced. It's actually more just golden ale with barrel flavors with a slight hint of coffee. but almost 10% ABV, super good, really smooth. So yeah, that was me. Greg, how about you? Quit watching soccer. What are you watching?
Watching soccer.
He's setting up his box.
We had 2 Necromancer beers, Can of Worms, and Tall, Dark, and Mild. But the one that I enjoyed the most is the Panama Crunk Juice from Crafted Culture. We met Sizzle out at Barrel and Flow. Yeah, that's his name, Sizzle. I don't know what his real name is. Sizzle works for me. And those were pretty good. The 2 on the left were well done, but didn't stand out really big from each other. So those are second and third, and that last one there worked pretty good for me. So cheers to that. I still got a couple of those left over, so those will be fun. Whitney, we're going to let you go, but we want to thank you, and we will definitely love to have you back to just talk movies. We'll talk. Yeah. We can talk. Of course, we can talk your job and all that, but on some level, I know you do that. Yeah, I know you do that a lot, and we like to sometimes take people out of their comfort zone or out of different zones because you are more than your profession, even though your profession is big. It's big for everybody, but we are all more than that. And so you are wardrobe design and movies. So we got that. So, but we didn't actually, you appear to be a beer drinker. We didn't even really jump into that.
Yeah.
And we love our female beer drinkers because first of all, the society tells us that y'all ain't supposed to be beer drinkers. Y'all supposed to be wine drinkers and wine coolers and all that crazy that society likes to pigeonhole women into. But we like to accent and highlight those barriers that y'all just break every time because y'all are not a monolith. Somebody needs to get a memo to somebody for that.
Yeah.
We still have many issues, but Whitney, I just want to say thank you for your time. And I let my 2 co-hosts say some things before we go. You want to say anything to Whitney before we let her go? We have a couple items, a couple news things we have to work on, and then we will see you in post-production, Whitney. Lauren, Doug?
All right.
No, just thank you, Whitney, for being here and giving us your knowledge and all your experience, because that's just what matters. That's what we wanted to hear. And so I'm looking forward to having you back so we can rap more about this stuff.
Yes.
I don't know. I love her. So, I'm just I was like, an excuse to talk to her some more. And uplift. Costume design is a thing that not everybody knows about or really thinks about.
And female voices too.
Yeah, and
thank you.
But we all, and there's not one of us out there anywhere that doesn't enjoy it. And it doesn't have the benefit of a good costume designer. We all watch shows. We all watch movies.
Think about
some of us more than others, Whitney. But but that's all good. That's all good. But again, thank you, and we'll see you soon. And we wish you the best of luck. And
thank you.
We're gonna have to grab you next time when you're not working.
I would love that.
Cheers. We should do like a year in review of movies or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Hey, Greg.
I have all the opinions.
December, Whitney, are you free or are you busy?
December is a great time for me.
Yeah, and we need Greg. We should have them have Whitney with Andy Cleves.
Yes, he's the like horror podcast man.
All right.
Oh, that would be a awesome mashup.
Let's make it happen.
I'll answer that question in a second. Thank you, Whitney. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Whitney. Also, side note to the Andy thing, part of me is like, okay, y'all were talking about the thing.
We're getting to that thing. So hold on. Maybe. Great.
Thanks, Whitney.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
All right. So what do you mean that thing we're getting to? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I thought we were talking a bit about having after show stuff.
Oh, this we'll get to.
What I was gonna say was that Whitney and you talking about the thing. I was like, and Jesse. I was like, they could also be on a whole show talking about like
Oh, that would be
Yes.
so great. Oh my God. Having Jesse
Fascinating.
involved.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I have not
Yes.
seen that. I was like, we should all do a watch party because I have not seen that movie at all. So I have a whole different modern day perspective anyway.
To address this, yes, and to address this, Manny, I promise you soon, very soon.
Yeah, we're working
on it. I got a couple things out as far as people have to get me stuff in order to finish it. I'm not gonna call anybody out, but I'm waiting for some people for some things for that. But Manny, it will be soon. It'll be Patreon, and we will have our guests, and we will actually talk to our guests before to see if they could be on the after show or not, how long they could be. That may cut down the length of the regular stream, though, y'all. Just warning you. It's probably maybe a bad effect of it, because we'll go down to 1 or 2 hours, and then we'll go. But we will give y'all more access to our guests, because some of them are say some crazy, nice, funny ass shit in the post production. So,
but to be clear, we're also going to make sure we verify that with the guests that are on to make sure they're comfortable with that. We're not going to. There's certain people who be like, no, and that's okay.
No, of course, but and he'll do only fan serial show. I'm not sure if that's a thing. Anyway,
Manny's
so
just available.
Manny, I'm gonna be reaching out to you soon to get on the show because holy shit, we need to have you back on.
I got one thing for this, Doug, real quick. So there've been I've gotten a few questions about James Lopez. I heard a good update from him that he's doing better. The doctors are saying he's doing better. His wife's saying he's doing better. So hopefully we'll be seeing James back on the beat, being Fatherhood is Lit really, really soon. If you want an update for him, I need to. I posted that link before. I'm going to post it again to his GoFundMe page. His wife has been active and giving people updates on that page. So if you check out James Lopez's GoFundMe page, you'll get updates on him. We also have real fast so that we can get to the post-game show. We have one of our favorite events coming up. We have the 40 for 40 race, September the 10th. You can't see it, but coming up fast, yo. We have Whitney Adams we're gonna keep that banner there. It's overshadowing the September 10th. But September 10th, a bunch of old people running.
You're not that old. It's fine.
For charity.
Hey. So, some of us are old.
So again, at this point, if you're over 40, I'm labeling you old, and you'll get over it, or you won't. So
you should run. Also, donate.
You should run. You should donate. You should have fun with us. If not, show up, share it on your social media. We'll be out here September 10th, early in the morning, announcing and having a good time for that. That's another thing. This Wednesday, I got the Badger Beer Happy Hour where we talk about Badger Beer news only in Wisconsin. Y'all probably remember, but it's with my friend. I don't even have Simon on here. My friend Simon Meconico from Venture Brewing and the Wisconsin Beer Baron. So that's Wednesday, Twitter Spaces. And last and certainly not least, and Doug is hearing it here first. I ain't even talked to Doug about it. So Lauren doesn't know about it. Or y'all know that we're going to be celebrating Oktoberfest September 23rd via the stream here. What y'all don't know is that we're going to be asking all of y'all to appear. So if you would like to dress up or have an Oktoberfest and you want to celebrate with Doug and I, and maybe Lauren if she wants to come, or whoever wants to be here, we're going to celebrate. I'm going to order my fedora this weekend, Doug. I was trying to pick one out.
I have several fedoras. Some good on
get a nice I don't know if I'll end up getting a lederhosen, but I'm going to get a nice. We're going to be an Oktoberfest. We're going to have an Oktoberfest celebration, but y'all can participate. We will send you the link. You can get up here, talk about everything. It'll be a big party. I think we should accent Oktoberfest is one of the historical beer events that we celebrate, and it'll be fun. So that'll be September 23rd, Friday, September 3rd. We don't have a guest yet. The guest will be all of y'all. And maybe we'll have a guest that'll be here the whole time. So Manny, let's go. HG, Daniel Fisher. I didn't see Zach. Zach, where's your leader Hosen? Let's go.
Oh,
let's go.
Does that go with a
Call
robe?
me.
Does that go with a robe?
I don't. Whatever you will wear to Oktoberfest, you're gonna wear here. September 23rd. So, looking forward to that. We'll give you more details as that comes up. But again, we have 40 for 40 race before that, and yeah. So, anything I missed, Doug, before we get out of here?
No, just has been fucking great. Again, Lauren, thank you for getting Whitney on our radar because
maybe Whitney will come back but she doesn't dress up. But maybe she'll come back for Oktoberfest.
She might. But and she does great. We welcome everybody to come in and just join us, dress up if you're going to dress up. Or if not, if you want to just fucking hang out and drink beer with us, we're fucking cool with that too.
Well, yeah. Or if you want to show up, show your costume, cheers to us, and then leave. You could be on for 5 seconds. You could be on for 5 hours. Well, maybe not that long, but
maybe not that long. Yeah.
Your appearance is as long as you feel comfortable. How about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Very well.
So, and Doug and I are going to. We did last weekend, so or at least I know I'm going to probably have a pretzel that's bad for me, maybe a hot dog or something. Is there any healthy Oktoberfest food, Doug?
Yes, sauerkraut.
Oh, just skip it.
Yuck.
So have a small brat with the sauerkraut.
Okay.
He'll think about it.
No sauerkraut.
And I will say probably a pretzel better for you than a fucking brat. Probably.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
As somebody
what else? So there's got to be something else, though, dog. You can't
hey, Greg,
pretzels and brats for like 3 days, right? Or is that what they do over there?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, Dutch country in Pennsylvania. Let me tell you, it's brats and fucking sauerkraut and mashed potatoes. That's fucking thing.
I know, and that's what I hated about it. I did too, though.
Sorry, man. I think
what else is there?
Pretzel and mustard is probably going to be your best bet.
There's got to be something better than that. We're going to figure that shit out.
I'll do some research and we'll.
Yes, but we're going to have a good time on Oktoberfest. So, any parting shots after that, y'all?
No, just
wanted to make that announcement.
No, Lauren, thank you for finding Whitney and bringing her into our sphere. There was not something that I ever would have. Like, I'm good at finding weird people to bring in, but
she found her decades ago.
I've been working on this for years.
But Whitney's not weird. I'm just saying, like, I'm good at finding oddballs.
Yeah, you're the weird one, right?
Yeah, I'm the weird one. Yeah,
she does have an unhealthy obsession with movies, though.
Oh, we're all weird.
Hey, that's great. We all have an unhealthy obsession with certain things. Good for
I'm just saying.
I love that y'all gave me the opportunity to bring in some of my weird friends.
Yes,
because we all know great people, and I'm happy to introduce them to different audiences and give them the opportunity, and y'all the opportunity to chat with them a little bit. And it's so fun.
Love it. And we're going to take the opportunity now to chat with her more. See y'all.